Mr. Collins.
Present.
Mr. Aiken.
I'm here.
Thank you. The floor is yours, Mr. Stenbridge.
Thank you, Madam Chair. At this time, yes, we will ask if there are any requests for withdrawals or deferrals from the 11 o'clock hearing time frame. Hearing none, we will move on then. The next case is BOA 1447970. And bear with me because they are this and a companion case also. The address being 104 Walter Street. And the companion case to that is case BOA 1444834 at 104R and 106R Walter Street. Is the applicant or the representative present?
Hi, if you're on for this app, can you raise your hand? Oh, okay, yeah. All right. Let me just make you a panelist. You can just accept the panelist designation once it pops up on your screen. And then you can unmute yourself and start speaking on the case. Terry, go ahead. Can you hear us?
Hi, good morning. I'm here as a representative of Habitat for Humanity Greater Boston. I'd like to, at this time, turn it over to our attorney, Kyle Smith.
Mr. Smith, the panelist. If there's Mr. Smith on, Kyle Smith. Okay, I don't know, Mr. Patton, can you proceed?
He's on, yeah.
He's on, okay, thank you.
Yeah, go ahead, Kyle.
If you do have me.
Okay.
Yes, I can. Thank you kindly.
Thank you.
You guys are running very promptly today, so my apologies for the delay.
I know it's so unexpected.
Okay. I'll be with you for just a moment. Okay. Beautiful. Have we been called into the record?
Yes, we're just looking for you to introduce yourself and walk us through the project and the violations.
Perfect. So my name is Kyle Smith, business address of 359 Newbury Street. It's the Terror Law in the Back Bay. What we have here, the city has put out an RFP. This has been a long-standing project, about 2+ years in the pipeline, for which local neighborhood groups positioned the city to try to acquire this land, which the city ultimately then did. So this is currently the subject of an RFP for which Habitat for Humanity was one of 2 applicants and was ultimately the elected or selected RFP recipient. There's currently an existing single-family structure on site, which is kind of in the footprint of the left building. And then to the rear, there is a existing, essentially a dilapidated garage structure. So the proposal is to take the existing single-family home, renovate it into a 2-family dwelling. That's what you see in the front left of the slide deck in front of you. And then to erect a new structure to the rear, which would also then have 2 units. So the proposal is to take a existing larger parcel with a single family home to renovate into 2 units in the existing structure and then add 2 to the rear. So we have a ALT permit, which is the subject of 104 Walter Street, which is the alteration of the pre-existing structure. And then there is a second, effectively a permit, an ERT, an erection permit for the proposal to the rear. So we effectively have 2 sister projects, one ALT number, one ERT number, but we're treating them as 2 sister projects that effectively are on a single piece of land. So the proposal is for 4 off-street parking spaces, with 4 total units. And I guess you want me to approach 104 Walter Street and its associated refusals?
Sure.
Okay. We have a open space insufficiency in aggregate. We have a off-street parking and loading requirement just because of orientation and maneuverability. In Rosendale, we have a requirement for 2 parking spaces per dwelling unit, which would be 8 in aggregate. We are proposing 4. This is proposed to be a 100% affordable housing project overseen and constructed by Habitat for Humanity. So there are slightly reduced affordable housing parking requirements per dwelling unit pursuant to the code, but we still don't abide by the requisite number. We have an excessive number of stories in the existing 104 parcel with 104 building with 3 total stories. And then we have effectively side yard insufficiencies for what would be pre-existing nonconformities. And that is largely for 104 Walter, the pre-existing structure. The structure to the rear, the proposed new construction, again, we have an aggregate open space insufficiency. Off-street parking, again, we have 4 proposed spaces for 4 proposed units. And then we have a side yard insufficiency to our left. We also have a rear yard insufficiency. I would just note that we have a pre-existing garage to be raised, a new structure to be erected, and proposing to make those existing setbacks less egregious by giving more deference and more space to both left side and also to the rear.
Anything else you'd like to share before we open up for questions?
No, I would just say that, we will have testimony from ONS, but there has been significant community engagement here, and we have a lot of wide-sitting support in this being, brought through the, collaborative efforts of many local neighborhood groups. So we are, I think, well positioned with a lot of good neighborhood support.
Thank you. With that, any questions from the board?
Yes, Madam Chair.
Yes.
Will each building be 2 families, or is it 1 and 1 is one question. And secondly, the size of the units in terms of square footage and stuff?
Yes, so the proposal is to have 2 buildings with 2 units each, 4 units in aggregate, which will be N for condominium and home ownership. Again, all affordable housing. If you proceed to inside of the slide deck, if you go up, there is a nice breakdown of the respective units and their blend of beds and baths and square footage. So in the existing structure, we'll have 2, both 2 beds, one being a 1 bath, the other one being a 1.5 bath. The first unit at 2 bed, 1 bath is proposed to be 936 square feet. The other unit being 2 beds, 1.5 bath at about 1,600 square feet. And then in the new structure, proposed to have a 3 bed, 1.5 bath at about 1,027 square feet. And then the 4th unit, the 2nd unit in the rear structure being 2 bed, 1 bath at 840 square feet.
Thank you.
Why such a large 1,600 square foot 2-bedroom?
Based upon orientation and configuration of the unit, it's logistically makes most sense to tie in the 2nd and 3rd floor in the pre-existing structure, which then lends itself to a much larger unit in the fact that it is located on both the 2nd and 3rd floor. The 1st unit is effectively a larger footprint, but 1st floor only.
Mm-hmm. Can you speak to landscaping?
Yes, so there is a prospective landscaping plan in place. We do have direct interfacing with the abutter to our left, our most impacted. There's been a lot of requests for applicable screening and or buffering. This also abuts conservation land to the right and to the rear. So the city is looking to develop that to provide access to this rear conservation land. So between city's efforts, Habitat's efforts, and specifically trying to work and engage with our impacted abutter to our left, there's been a lot of emphasis in providing appropriate landscaping and screening and buffering. So there is a pretty well thought out current proposed landscaping plan in place.
Is that what that walkway is leading to, this conservation land?
Correct. Well, we do have a certain drive. Again, given the depth of the drive and the proposed rear structure, we had a lot of interfacing with the fire department. So we have a widened drive on our parcel, but to your point, yes, to the immediate right is proposed to be a walkway that will be developed by the city in combination with other state entities for access to the rear conservation.
Thank you.
Other questions from the board?
Sorry, I might have missed this, but have you guys already gone in front of conservation?
I'm not certain of that question. I apologize. I believe so, in light of the fact that the city has come to control this parcel.
Yep.
And that on the site plan would indicate the entity that controls that parcel, but I will work to confirm for you.
Okay.
And Jerry also on the line too, who is project manager, he also may be able to opine on that too. Jerry, you have to know the answer to that question.
Any other questions from the board? Okay, we'll give you a chance to you can figure that out while we go to public testimony.
Do we have any comments from BTD on this driveway and the sidewalk?
Yes, I'm not certain on BTD, but as far as the fire department is concerned, yes, there's been a lot of oversight in relation to the depth and to the width based upon access and need for fire trucks and related personnel and equipment to be able to access the rear structure in the event of emergency.
Mr. D'Amico, are you on? I saw him earlier. No. Mr. Stenbridge, does he have any comments?
Not that I can see, Madam
Okay.
Chair.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, I do see Bob with the raised hand. Do you want to speak, Mr. D'Amico? Okay, we're going to keep going until let's have public testimony.
Yes, Madam Chair, members of the board, Connor Newman with the Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services. This time the Mayor's Office likes to defer to the judgment of this board. As you heard from the applicant's representation, there's been a significant community engagement period over the past few years. The Roslindale Wetlands Task Force and Longfellow Area Neighborhood Association have been heavily involved, but not limited. There's been other groups involved as well that have been supportive of this project because of the aspects of affordable homeownership as well as the conservation piece to the proposal as well, kind of combining a lot of main goals that residents have for that particular property. Our office conducted an abutters meeting on April 12th, where numerous abutters were in attendance to express support for the proposal, citing the work that the applicant Habitat for Humanity has done with engaging community members, as well as the opportunity of drawing families to this area. There was one resident an abutter who expressed some concerns regarding the setbacks. I understand that the applicant has continued to work with that family to address some of those concerns regarding screening and buffering. And then we received a letter from the Longfellow Area Neighborhood Association this morning, which was forwarded to the board, outlining their reasons for supporting the proposal. With that, we'll defer to the board at this time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, members of the board. Jordan Frias here from Councilor Ricardo Arroyo's office. We'd like to go on record in support of this. Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, members of the board, Paul Sullivan, for City Council at Large, Michael Flaherty. This has gone through a robust communal process. Specifically, land has been very involved. The parcel itself, having been now, due to affordable housing, the council would like to go on record of very strong support.
Is that for housing? Go ahead. Tiara, are you looking to give testimony here?
Yes, hi, my name is Tiara Satchville. I'm a housing development officer with the Mayor's Office of Housing, and I just want to go on record in support of this project.
Thanks. Kathy? Gabe?
Thank you. My name is Kathy McCabe. I'm the president of the Longfellow Area Neighborhood Association. We enthusiastically and strongly support both applications. And we in the neighborhood call this the 104-108 Walter Street project. because it really started as a combined project. 104 Walter is our vision for advancing equity with 4 units of affordable housing. The adjoining parcel, which was originally 37,000 square feet plus, was the largest privately owned parcel in the Rosendale wetlands and was acquired by the city, and that's where the walkway is, the Conservation Commission. And part of our request for being able to have 2 structures with 4 units of affordable housing is so that land could be maximized for the Rosendale Wetlands Urban Wild Area, which is a 10-plus acre designated conservation area. So we strongly urge you to approve all variances, and thank you very much for your help and support.
Good morning. My name is Inji Kaya. I'm an immediate abutter to 104 Walter and 108 Walter. We live at 100 Walter. We are excited about the potential that this project holds. We do want to make it very clear that we are, as immediate abutters, in a position that will be impacted most strongly. The setbacks are something that we are working with Habitat and their colleagues on right now. Right now, we are still working on a resolution on a way that setbacks will be amicable to both sides. But as it stands now, it is a very large unit that is really pushing on the borders between the 2 units. We also have some question marks that we've raised ahead of this call to the Habitat folks about the increased traffic and the increased risk in traffic that it poses to Walter Street and anybody who drives there, not just for today and tomorrow, but for 50, 60, 80, 100 years from now. It becomes higher than regular. It basically increases the traffic flow in an area where there's basically very limited visibility. So because of...
Can you please?
Yeah, Christine, Councilor Bruce's office.
Well, good morning. My name is Cindy Peters from Councilor Bruce Division's office. We would like to go on record and support this project.
Okay, any other raised hands? I think we get the idea. Okay, with that, any other questions from the board? May I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve with BPDA design review with special attention to the site plan, landscaping, and the continuous sidewalk across the driveway.
May I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Sprembridge?
Yes.
Mr. Shepherd?
Yes.
Mr. Valencia?
Yes.
Ms. Panado?
Yes.
Mr. Collins?
Yes.
Mr. Aiken?
Yes.
Chair also votes yes. Motion carries. Good luck.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Next, we have case BOA 1433904, with the address being 30 Arlington Street. Is the applicant and/or their representative present?
Yes, there's a raised hand here. Louis, I'm going to make you a panelist. Can you accept it once it pops up and unmute yourself? Give us your name and address and tell us what you're looking to do once you're unmuted.
Good morning. Can everybody hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Good morning, Madam Chair. Good morning, members of the board. My name is Louis Crespo, and I'm looking for a variance for my property over at 30 Arlington Street to make the basement unit an actual unit. It's going to be conformed of 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, and it's going to be very similar to the other units on the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd floor. There's a couple of zoning issues, which is one of them is the non-conforming use. The uses are forbidden: lot frontage, floor area ratio, building height, unusable open space, and front yard insufficient. Nothing is going to change as far as the structure of the building. So the only change will be in the inside of the basement.
So, Mr. Crespo, can you walk us through what is the basement currently used for? What is the ceiling height, egress, and windows or natural light situation?
Yeah, so because of the grade of the street from Arlington to Davidson Street, the basement unit still has the same size windows as the other units, which I believe they're 36 by 54. As far as egress, if you can look on the plans for the stairs, yep, right over there. So the set of stairs from the right side that go in through the other units, it's gonna have access to that basement unit. There is a sprinkler room on the basement that services the whole house. And then there's an egress at the rear of the building, which is where the decks are. So there'll be an entrance and an egress form for that unit. As far as ceiling height, it will be the same ceiling height as the other units. It will be 8 feet 3 inches.
Other questions from the board?
Yes, quickly, can you just tell us a little bit more about this request? What's the purpose of going from a 3-family to a 4-family? Is this your house? Just a little bit more information about the nature of why this is required. Thank you.
Yeah, so this is my house, and I currently own it. I currently moved out of that house, but I'm looking for the potential to build another unit in the basement to just maximize the use of the building. Just given the grade of the street level, and there's other properties in the near immediate area that are 4 families as well. And as far as the parking, I know parking is a big issue in the city now. There's plenty of parking space to accommodate for this unit.
Plenty of parking on your property, or are you referring to street parking?
No, my property. So there's about 13 parking spaces on the property, on the rear of the property.
Okay. Other questions from the board?
Why so much parking? 13 spaces for, what's this, this is a 3-family?
Well, yes, but I also own the house that is right next to it, which is 32 Arlington. So the 13 parking spaces serve for the two buildings.
And are these all rentals or condominiums? What's the?
They're rentals as of right now.
Is there any, will there be any storage? The units don't look like they have any extra storage space. Where can folks keep things?
Well,
do they use the basement now?
No, they do not have access to the basement as of right now. They do have like a closet in the immediate living room area with a lot of the tenants store whatever they have. But as far as storage in the basement, there's none as of right now. And that hasn't been an issue with the tenants over the years.
Can we hear from, I see Bob D'Amico has his hand up.
Yes, I want to apologize, Madam Chair. I had a problem unmuting myself at the last case. But I haven't seen a parking plan for this this project. And if possible, I would like to review the parking plan just to make sure that it works and it's not, there's not an overabundance of parking because of, screening and buffering and things of that nature. I just want to make sure that maneuverability and the spaces comply. So I'd like to offer a proviso for a BTD review.
Thank you. Other questions from the board? Okay, may I have public testimony?
Yes, Madam Chair, members of the board, Connor Newman with the Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services. At this time, the Mayor's Office would like to defer to the judgment of this board. Some background information on the community process. Our office held a butters meeting on April 15th, where both the Hyde Park Central River and the Hyde Park Neighborhood Association were present and expressed no concerns with the proposal. The applicants also met with the Hyde Park Central River Neighborhood Group, and no concerns were also brought forth to our office. At this time, we'd like to defer to the board. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other raised hands, Jessica?
Yeah, Warren, you looking to give testimony here? NCA, you looking to give testimony here as well?
Hi, good morning. I had a question about the parking spots. The owner indicated that they have 13 spots that serve the building next door or the structure next door. So how many units are in that building?
So there's 2 units on that building. So the house next to this building is a two-family home.
So just to confirm, folks are giving public testimony for or against. We're not asking additional questions at this time. Jessica, are there any other raised hands?
No additional raised hands, thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions from the board? Okay, with that, may I have a motion?
A motion to approve with BPDA design review and BTD review.
May I have, thank you. Mr. Stenbridge,
Yes.
Mr. Shepherd,
Yes.
Mr. Valencia,
Yes.
Ms. Panado,
Yes.
Mr. Collins,
Yes.
Mr. Aiken.
Yes.
Chair also votes yes, motion carries. Good luck.
Next, we have case BOA 142-28848 with the address of 432 Galvin Boulevard. Is the applicant and/or their representative present?
Can you raise your hand if you're on for this proposal? Don't see anyone.
Okay, let's move on.
Next, we have case BOA 142-0381, the address of 250 Minot Street. Is the applicant or their representative present for this proposal?
Hello, yes, my name is Keith Hensman, and I prepared the drawings for Liam and his family, and actually I think Liam may be sharing the screen now, and he's quite versatile at talking about his project. The main bit of relief we're looking for is side yard insufficient, and so the existing home you can see here on the plot plan, and the proposed addition is on the left side driveway side there. And so this is where the side yard would be insufficient. So Liam, if you want to go up to the perspective view, the cover image. So the existing home is a 2.5-story home, and the proposed addition is also 2.5-story. And the addition creates a new side entry on the driveway side. You can see the small overhang there and steps to grade, and creates a full bath on that first floor. At the basement level, it just provides additional storage for yard use, such as a snow blower and that sort of thing. And then on the top floor there, this creates space for an additional bedroom for their family. So you can see this is an existing single-family home. Liam and his family are longtime residents of Minot Street, and they'd like to continue living there and make space for their young family.
Thank you. Any questions from the board? Okay, hearing none, may I have public testimony?
Yes, Madam Chair, members of the board, Connor Newman with the Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services. This time, the Mayor's Office would like to defer to the judgment of this board. Some background information on the community process. Our office hosted an abutters meeting where 2 abutters were in attendance. One abutter expressed their strong support for the proposal. The applicant then went on to meet with the Ashmont Adams Group, who voted in support of this proposal. With that, we'll defer to the board. Thank you.
Thank you.
Chris Walsh, you looking to give testimony here?
No, I'm actually 432 Galvin Boulevard. I guess I was muted. I couldn't get to you in time.
Okay, well, we'll circle back to you later. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. All right, I have no additional raised hands.
Thank you. With that, may I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve with BPDA design review.
May I have a second? Mr. Stenbridge,
Yes.
Mr. Shepherd,
Yes.
Mr. Valencia,
Yes.
Ms. Panado,
Yes.
Mr. Collins,
Yes.
Mr. Aiken,
Yes.
Chair also votes yes. Motion carries. Good luck.
Thank you.
At this time, we'll try again then for case BOA 1428848. The address being 432 Galvin Boulevard. And I believe we have a representative for the applicant. Now,
Yes, Christopher Walsh here.
Yes, can you walk us through the proposal?
Okay, sure. Again, my name is Christopher Walsh. I am the contractor and representative for O.C. Douglas, who is the owner of the property. I live in West Bridgewater, Massachusetts, and we are here today to ask for a variance from 2 zoning code violations, floor area ratio excessive and side yard insufficient. The owners purchased this property many years ago with an existing basement completely remodeled. It had a kitchen and a bedroom. About a year ago, or about 2 years ago, we renovated the house on the first floor, the kitchen, and the building inspector requested that we file for an approval for the legalization of the basement basement space. So we did that, and it was denied, as I said, for the 2 items on the list. The basement, as I said, was completely remodeled when the owners purchased the property. The basement space is vital to the family. They do have extended family living with them, mother and father, elderly mother and father, as well as an autistic child who needs the basement unit to meet with daily with therapists. So we're respectively asking for a variance from the zoning code violations, and they do have off-street parking. And again, this is an existing situation of which they purchased the property as is. And that's basically what we're going to try to do. We're going to get rid of the existing kitchen, and we're going to change it to a bathroom and just a simple wet bar down there for washing hands. And then we'll put a bedroom, the bedroom that's already there, we will put an access, direct access egress window well on the right side, on the left side of the property, the right side of the house, which is, it's actually a driveway, but it's not legal. So we don't call that the driveway. It's a paved area that has a wide open gate on the other side, which is only about 3 feet high. The opposite side of the house does have a full driveway with a curb cut and a working light, traffic light for her entrance and exit into the property. The boiler room will remain the same. The existing bathroom will become a closet, and it'll become organized a little bit easier for the family. The existing stairs will not be touched. There is a door about 2 or 3 feet up from the stairs on the right, as you see there, and then you can see it here. It's existing, and that door will also have access to the directly access to outside. So with that, then we respectively ask for the zoning code variance, and I guess that would be it. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Any questions from the board? Okay. Hearing none, may I have public testimony?
No, can I ask a few questions?
Of course, yes.
Are there any elevations? Because it's hard to tell by this what, this is all below grade?
Yes, this is a basement. It's below grade about 3 feet. So the window well, as you see to the right there that says proposed egress window well, will be constructed in conforming with state law, International Building Code, and the window will be direct access to outside. It would only be about 35, 36 inches to get up to the window well, which is well within the international.
And that's the only light coming into this basement unit?
That window, yes. Then there's 2 windows on the left. You see the blue? There's 2 windows there. They're small basement windows.
Do we have elevations?
No, we don't.
No. Okay.
But again, you can see there's only 3 steps up to the, from the basement floor to the level of the parking lot. Paved area.
And ceiling heights in this basement area?
About 7.6.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions from the board? Hearing none, may I have public testimony?
Yes, Madam Chair, members of the board, Connor Newman with the Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services. At this time, the Mayor's Office likes to defer to the judgment of this board. Some background information on the community process. Our office hosted an abutters meeting where no abutters were in attendance. The applicant then went on to the Ashmont Adams group, who voted to support this proposal. With that, we'll defer to the board at this time. Thank you.
Thank you.
And Madam Chair, I have no raised hands.
Thank you. With that, may I have a motion?
And to make a motion for approval with BPDA design review.
May I have a second? Thank you.
Mr. Shepherd, we don't need design review because it's internal. The only thing I would ask, I had the same concerns as Mr. Panato, if you could add a proviso with no building code relief, because we didn't see elevations for the basement either. So that would be my only ask, is no building code relief.
Okay. So I'll redo the motion. I'd like to make the motion for approval with one proviso. Which proviso was that? Oh, no building code relief.
May I have a second? Mr. Stumbridge?
Yes.
Mr. Shepherd?
Yes.
Mr. Valencia?
Yes.
Ms. Panato?
Yes.
Mr. Collins?
Yes.
Mr. Aiken?
Yes.
Chair also votes yes. Motion carries. Good luck.
Next, we have case BOA 1449128, with the address being 3339 Savin Hill Avenue. Is the applicant and or their representative present?
Yes, good morning, Madam Chair, members of the board. Tom Miller from McDermott Quilty Miller of 28 State Street in Boston, representing the applicant.
Proceed.
As I said, good morning. I'm thrown off because, you know, as stated earlier, we're running on time, and that's just, it's crazy. So I'm joined today by the project architect, Annette, Beck Nanchigal, of Rubinoff Architects. This proposal before you today will allow the applicant to increase their dining capacity of this restaurant that has been in the neighborhood for over 40 years. The proposal is to increase capacity to 43 seats, and the overall capacity to 49. All the proposed work here is interior with no modifications to the footprint of the structure. This application requires relief on 2 counts. First, the restaurant use is conditional in this sub-district of the Dorchester Neighborhood Zoning District. As such, we require relief for an extension of a non-conforming use. Second, this increase in seating capacity requires the addition of off-street parking. There's currently no off-street parking at this location, and as we are not modifying the footprint of this long existing lot-sized structure, there is no ability to add off-street parking. In addition to the abutters meeting held by ONS, which I'm sure you're going to hear about shortly, we met with the Columbia Savin Hill Civic Association, which resulted in their support for this project. Simply put, granting this relief will allow a long existing neighborhood restaurant to better meet the needs of the community at this appropriate location with no adverse effect on its neighbors. We want to thank the board for hearing this application today, and we'd be happy to answer any questions you have.
Thank you, Mr. Miller. Any questions from the board?
What's the current seating capacity?
34.
Okay, so going from 34 to 49? 43.
Seating capacity is 43. Overall capacity will be 49.
Okay, thank you.
Through the chair, we want to stay on time for Tom. Do you have parking in the back already, or?
No, as constructed, this building is lot size and has been, ever since it started. So no, there's no off-street parking here. This really is a neighborhood restaurant. Most of their clientele walk from the Savin Hill area.
Just out of curiosity, is it the same tenant or is it a new tenant requesting this?
No, this is the same ownership. They're just upgrading to meet the needs they've seen arise over the time as their ownership, since they've owned it.
Any other questions from the board? Hearing none, may I have public testimony?
Yes, Madam Chair, members of the board, Connor Newman with the Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services. This time, the Mayor's Office likes to defer to the judgment of this board. Some background information on the community process. Our office hosted an abutters meeting where 2 abutters expressed their support for this proposal. We're unaware of any concerns at this time. As the applicant's representation mentioned, they went on to meet with the Civic Association, the Columbia Savin Hill Civic, which voted to support this proposal. With that, we'll defer to the board. Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, I have no raised hands.
With that, may I have a motion?
I'll motion to approve.
May I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Stenbridge?
Yes.
Mr. Shepherd?
Yes.
Mr. Valencia?
Yes.
Ms. Panado?
Yes.
Mr. Collins?
Yes.
Mr. Aiken?
Yes.
Chair also votes yes. Motion carries.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have 2 companion cases. The first being BOA 14608.
I don't know, Jessica, can you do anything about that echo?
No, are you on 2 computers?
No, I figured it out, Madam Chair. I had to mute someone else.
Okay.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, 2 companion cases. The first being BOA 1460817 with the address of 425 Quincy Street. Second, the other companion case with that is BOA 1460820 with the address of 427 Quincy Street. Is the applicant and/or their representative present?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Stenbridge. Thank you, Madam Chair. Members of the board, Attorney Jeff Drago with Drago Toscano with the business address of 11 Beacon Street, here on behalf of the applicant, and I also have Chris Pruhone from Zephyr Architects to answer any questions on the architectural side. This is a project. It's unique for this area of Dorchester. It's one of the largest lots in the area at 20,020 square feet. This would be the lot looking at it straight on from Quincy Street. And you can see we have an existing off to the right building that is, it was never confirmed properly, so we're changing the occupancy, but it is laid out and used currently and rented with tenants as a 3-unit building. That building will remain, and we are proposing to subdivide the lot. Lot A will house a little slightly over 5,000 square feet. This existing structure, which is shown in this picture. Madam Bass, you can go right to the next slide. Thank you. And subdivide the lot and create a new 14,629 square foot parcel that will house the new proposed condominium project. This project will have an address of 427 Quincy Street. 425 will remain as the rate. This new building would house a proposed 14 residential units with 11 parking spaces. Just to point out, we've had a very extensive process going through working with not only the community to get their support, but also the BPDA to make changes over these years. This project originally was at 24 units, scaled down now to 14, and that's in doing so, we've shaped the design and made agreements all along to keep the existing structure, which the community, both the Bowdoin Geneva Street Association and Meeting House Hill felt very strongly about. So this was all worked out to get their support. And I know the BPDAs as well. And this new project shows 2 separate buildings. So the new building would be the condo building that you're looking at. This is the great picture. You can see the significant grade change in the project. This is retaining wall that goes all around the building and rock ledge, and that will all remain. So that would minimize any chance of blasting, which neighbors had asked us to do. So this is built on top of that wall and that elevation in topography. As I mentioned, it would also house 11 parking spaces. That is entered through an existing driveway, 10-foot driveway in the rear coming off of Bellevue Street, which is our abutting street in the back. Just to go over, just to point out as well, we did reduce the number of units, but we wanted to keep affordability on this project site, so we were able to maintain at this unit count 2 affordable units, inclusionary development units on site. Those units are Unit 1B and Unit 2A, and respectively, that's a 1-bedroom unit and a 2-bedroom unit. The breakdown, you can just see this is a side view of the project. The breakdown is 7 1-bedroom units, 5 2-bedroom units, and 2 3-bedroom units for a mix of housing stock to serve the neighborhood. The 1-beds are on average 682 square feet, 2 beds at 790, and 3 beds at 1150 on average. Just to go over the layout, so level 1 would house 2 units, a lobby and a bike room to be used by those residents. Level 2, because of the significant grade change, has the 11 parking spaces entered from the Bellevue side, and this shows it right here nicely. You can see the existing driveway that leads to those back spaces. Level 3 has 5 units, and then finally level 4 has 2 units. There's also some walkout terrace on the top floor of the project and some rear balconies for those units as well. Just to go over some of the violations that were mentioned that we're seeking relief for. One is lot area being at 14,642 square feet. We would need FAR relief for this area, just 0.5. We're at a 1.15. Building height stories, we are a 4-story building, and we do have that top floor recessed significantly from the Quincy Street side, but we would be at 56 feet 4 inches requiring zoning relief. Side yard, one side 2'2", we would need relief. Rear yard, we're at 11 feet and 30 would be required. And then parking, although we do have 11 parking spaces, 1.5 per unit would be required. As I mentioned, we've really made a number of changes as we went through this process of working with the community groups to get their support. And I can pause now to answer any questions that the board may have.
Thank you, Mr. Drago. Any questions from the board?
Yes, Mr. Triego, did you have to go through the small project review with the BPDA, or what was the process with the BPDA?
Sure. So we started there, Mr. Valencia, when we were at a much bigger project. As we scaled it down to 14, we were out of the Article 80 review realm, but we will still be working with the BPDA for the affordable housing agreements on these 2 units.
Thank you. And what were the reasons for the proponent to reduce the number of units?
The BPDA felt this is a mix of housing stock. There are a lot of multifamilies. They just felt that was just too big of a project. And some members of the community felt it was too large. So we tried to get to a point where we could get neighborhood support and BPDA support for the project, which we now have both. But it was very important to the neighborhood, of course, to retain this existing structure. So every proposal that we had kept this 3-unit off to the right.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Can you speak to landscaping? The renderings seem to depict some, but I'm not sure I see that on the plans.
Yeah, I'm going to defer to Chris, who's with us, Chris Perlhone, if he is available to speak.
Yeah, I'm here. I believe we did submit a landscape plan with this, but it may not have made it into this slide deck. The intent is to leave as much of the surrounding and interior landscaping for a courtyard space to be shared between 425 and 427. It creates a nice kind of enclosed space that would be paved as a patio with furniture and outdoor space that can be shared between the two buildings. Much of the existing grass and trees that are existing that can stay, the intent is to keep those. And we have some extent to plant along the front edge along 425 that allows. Much of the new hardscape that is created along the front yard will be for accessible ramping, which is not currently in existence on these properties. So accessing these two properties is going to be kind of a task unto itself that we're trying to incorporate into the streetscape so it looks more natural and creates a nice pedestrian view as you're entering out, rather than the existence of kind of that large brick retaining wall that exists currently.
Thank you. Any other questions?
Madam Chair, yes.
All right.
Just
Can someone
explain how
move
the
again?
parking works and the size of the curb cut. It doesn't look like the curb cut's on Bellevue, but can you just describe that a little bit? It's quite large, and I don't know if Bob's here and can weigh in whether BTD's seen anything. Yeah, Bob.
The existing curb cut off Bellevue that exists now, the problem is just the way it's laid out. It's almost impassable with the way the rocks are set, and there's just overgrowth. But you can see right here, off of Bellevue, you come in through the existing curb cut down that passageway right into the back where the parking spaces would be lined.
I'm sure Bob, if Bob wants to chime in, he certainly can, but from a letter, from an email that he said, 427 Quincy Street is okay. BTD can always solve the visibility issue with proper signage.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Any other questions from the board? With that, may I have public testimony?
Good morning, Madam Chair and members of the board. Ashley Gomes from the Office of Neighborhood Services. Some background information on the community process. The office did hold an abutters meeting late of 2022. The applicant had good community engagement, presenting to the area civic twice, obtaining good feedback from the abutters and civic, no drastic concerns with that. Meeting House Hill has written a letter in support of this project. In closing, we'd like to defer the judgment to this board at this time. Thank you.
Thank you.
I have no raised hands at the moment.
Madam Chair, members of the board, Joe McEachran, City Councilor Frank Baker's office would like to go on record in support.
Yep. With that, may I have a motion?
A motion to approve with BPDA design review.
May I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Stenbridge?
Yes.
Mr. Shepherd?
Yes.
Mr. Valencia?
Yes.
Ms. Panado?
Yes.
Mr. Collins?
Yes.
Mr. Aiken?
Yes.
Chair also votes yes. Motion carries. Good luck.
Thank you very much, members of the board.
Next, we have case BOA 1450446, with the address being 30 Concord Square. Is the applicant and/or their representative present?
John is on. He became a panelist. So John, when you accept the panelist designation, can you unmute yourself?
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, members of the board. John Moran, Alpine Advisory Services, with the mailing address of 130 Beach Road, Orleans, Mass. Madam Chair and members of the board, we are here in reference to an amendment filed to erect a roof deck, which would be for the exclusive use of Unit 2, and 2 rear decks, which within the South End Neighborhood Code requires the board to issue a conditional use permit. If we could scroll down to A4 on the plans, which would better illustrate where the decks are proposed. The 2 decks will project 6 feet into the rear yard and will cantilever, no posts, The lower deck at the parlor unit will service Unit 1, and the third floor deck is for Unit 2. And again, the roof deck is for the exclusive use of Unit 2. That is the only relief sought under this appeal for a conditional use permit to erect the 2 rear decks. With that, I'm open to questions.
Thank you. Any questions from the board? Okay, hearing none, may I have public testimony?
Hi, yes. Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the board. Kim Crucioli from the Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services. The Mayor's Office would like to defer to the board on this matter. Our office held an abutters meeting in April of 2023 where support was shown by the abutters and any concerns were addressed. They also received a letter of support from the Claremont Neighborhood Association. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning, Madam Chair and Board. I'm here representing Councilor Tanya Fernandez Anderson. The councilor would like to go on record in support.
Thank you.
I have no additional raised hands. Thank you.
Thank you, Jessica. With that, may I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve with the design review.
May I have a second?
Second.
Madam Chair, if I
Yes.
may, this is within a landmarks district, and the BRA generally defers to landmarks on
But
exterior.
it's in the rear of the building, John, so landmarks won't take a look at it. So we'll do the review on this.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Mr. Stenbridge,
Yes.
Mr. Shepherd,
Yes.
Mr. Valencia,
Yes.
Ms. Panado,
Yes.
Mr. Collins,
Yes.
Mr. Aiken.
Yes.
Chair also votes yes. Motion carries.
Thank you.
At this time, Madam Chair, I'd like to jump ahead to the rediscussions scheduled for 11:30 and ask if there are any withdrawals or deferrals that would be requested from this time frame.
Yes, Mr. Secretary, 110 Tudor Street.
Okay, so you're requesting a deferral for case BOA 1407102 with the address being 110 Tudor Street.
Okay, may I have a motion? Oh, sorry, what's the next available date?
The next available date would be June 11th.
Mr. Spitz?
Yes, that's perfect. Did you need me to read my name and address into the record and the reason why I'm deferring?
If you'd like, yes, please.
Sure. Madam Chair, members of the board, Attorney Ryan Spitz, Adams and Moranci, business address of 168 8th Street, first floor, South Boston. We're asking for a deferral based upon the revised plans that were sent over, received an updated refusal letter. That refusal letter was missing one dimensional violation that needs to be added back in. So just requesting again a short deferral in July 11th will work great.
Could you please repeat the other address?
110 Tudor Street.
Thank you.
And sorry, was that June or July 11th, Mr. Stenbridge?
Oh, good. Thank you, Madam Chair. It's July 11th.
July, okay. Thank you. Okay, with that, may I have a motion?
Motion to a motion.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
Sorry, this is Sam. In the circumstance that ISD has missed a violation, it has been recommended that we give them a date of about 3 weeks out, just with enough time to re-advertise, but not too long that it's burdensome on the applicant.
Okay.
Would that be sufficient to the board and the applicant?
We're fine with the July 11th date as well. It would give us a sufficient time to send over an email to ISD board, clearing out which violation should have been cited.
Okay, thank you, Attorney Spitz.
Great, thank you.
Madam Chair.
Thank you. Okay, I'm sorry, where was I? May I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
It's a motion to defer, isn't it?
To defer, yeah, to approve the deferral, sorry. To defer.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Stenbridge?
Yes.
Mr. Shepherd? Okay, Mr. Shepherd?
Yes.
Mr. Valencia?
Yes.
Ms. Panado?
Yes.
Mr. Collins?
Yes.
Mr. Aiken?
Yes.
Chair also votes yes, motion carries. See you in July.
And returning to the last case for the 11 o'clock hearing, case BOA 1340197, the address being 357 to 361 Hanover Street. Is the applicant and/or their representative present?
Yes. Yes. Can you hear
Who
me?
would like to proceed? Yes, please.
Hi, my name is Warren Mustachio. I'm the owner of Ben Conto Restaurant, located at 357, 361 Hanover Street. I operate the restaurant. What we're looking to propose is going from 49 seats to 60 seats. I've had abutters meetings, and I had no opposition, and I have a letter of support from my direct abutter located at 57 Fleet Street, and it's LLC Realty LLC, Nicole Griffin. And she's my direct abutter. She gave me a letter of support. We had an abutters meeting that...
ONS will go through that, but can you confirm what the maximum allowed occupancy for this spaces?
60.
Okay. Any other questions from the board? Okay, hearing none, can we have public testimony?
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, members of the board. I'm Sarah D'Amico from the Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services. Applicant did complete community process. We did hold an abutters meeting. They did go to the civic groups as well, NURA and Munich, and they did receive a letter of support from NURA. At this time, our office would like to defer to the board's judgment. Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, I have no raised hands.
Okay, with that, may I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
May I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Stenbridge?
Yes.
Mr. Shepherd?
Yes.
Mr. Valencia?
Yes.
Ms. Panado?
Yes.
Mr. Collins?
Yes.
Mr. Aiken?
Yes.
Chair also votes yes, motion carries. Good luck, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
At this time, we'll move into the recommendation scheduled for 11 a.m. I will read through the board's recommendations, read through the subcommittee's recommendation, give the decision, and go through this section. Sure. First, we have case BOA 145-1404, the address being 46 Crosstown Avenue. This was approved with BPDA design review. Next, we have case BOA 135-0407, the address being 44R Warley Street. This was approved. Case BOA 881068, with the address being 676 to 680 Truman Parkway. This was approved to remove the previous proviso. Next, we have case BOA 1432868, with the address being 242 Fairmont Avenue. This was approved for a two-family with the proviso to eliminate parking space number 3. Next, we have case BOA 1436317, the address being 38 Taunton Avenue. This was approved. Case BOA 1449055, with the address being 34 Howlsley Road. This was approved. Case BOA 1451005, with the address being 109 Bateman Street. This was approved with BPDA design review and no building code relief. Case BOA 1442463, the address 10 Manor Street. This was approved. Next, we have case BOA 1434443, the address being 26 Speedwell Street. This was approved. Next, we have case BOA 1349736, with an address of 906 Dorchester Avenue. This was approved. Case BOA 1443133, address of 34 McBride Street. This was approved with BPDA design. Case BOA 1431939, the address of 64 Harvard Street, was approved with a proviso of an internal staircase and hatch access to the roof deck. Case BOA 1452730, the address of 509 East 1st Street, was approved. Case BOA 1442810, the address being 551 East 5th Street, was approved with proviso of BPDA design review. Case BOA 1428631, with the address of 23 Hudson Street, was approved with provisos of no building code relief and an accessibility review. Two companion cases, case BOA 1340198, with the address of 109 to 109A Salem Street, and case BOA 1340204, the address of 111 to 111A Salem Street. Both were deferred until June 15th. And last, we have case BOA 1405291 with an address of 924 East 4th Street. This was approved with proviso for BPDA design review and to use permeable materials for the second parking space. And
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Stenbridge.
Mr. Shirley Welsh.
May I have a motion?
Motion to approve the subcommittee recommendations.
May I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Stenbridge,
Yes.
Mr. Shepherd,
Yes.
Mr. Valencia,
Yes.
Ms. Panado,
Yes.
Mr. Collins,
Yes.
Mr. Aitken.
Yes.
Chair also votes yes, motion carries.
Returning to the rediscussions for 11:30 a.m., we have case BOA 1419182, the address being 543 East 7th Street. Is the applicant and/or their representative present?
Yes, Mr. Secretary, Madam Chair, members of the board, Attorney Ryan Spitz with Adams and Moranci, business address of 168 H Street, first floor, South Boston. With me today are the owners, Joe and Paul Holland. Also joining us is the architect, Justin White. This is a proposal for a full gut renovation of an existing three-family dwelling by way of a rear addition. I want to, if I could direct to pages 2 and 3, and also there'll be a color page on page 6 that can kind of define this a little bit better as I go through. This is a unique proposal as it consists of 2 parcels, which the plot plans can be seen on pages 2 and 3. The first parcel, which contains the existing three-family, is approximately 1,480 square feet. The second parcel in the rear, which is vacant land that is landlocked and is approximately 2,460 square feet. This application doesn't call to combine the lots as much as the owners would have preferred to have done so, as there is a 4-foot easement in the rear of the property for the two abutting owners to use as means of egress. As for the extensions of a livable space on the first parcel, you will notice there are rear multi-level decks that are partially covered, which will be removed to provide for the addition. Those decks currently extend approximately 5.1 feet off of the 4-foot passageway in the rear. The addition, which will be replacing those decks, will extend approximately 3.1 feet off of the passageway. So that will be just a 2-foot extension beyond the current location of those decks for the addition. If I could direct you to page 11, you'll see here the vacant parcel will be an open space area with trees, plantings, and a pavable area that will be dedicated to those unit owners. A few things here. This is a classic example of a previous project that Joe and Paul Holland has done before with the typical second lot that was landlocked in the rear. And again, this will be an open space area dedicated and committed to those unit owners. And I personally believe that it will be a pleasure for all abutting owners when looking out their windows to see a beautiful landscaped area such as this versus what it is today. And now if I can direct your attention to page 8, I'm going to go through the unit layouts for the addition. Unit 1 is approximately 2,436 square feet and will consist of half of the garden level in the first floor. You can see that, yes, perfect. The front part of the garden level will consist of a common storage and mechanicals. The back of the garden level is a full walkout onto the rear of the property that will have 2 bedrooms and a den area for additional space. The first floor will consist of 2 bedrooms and an open concept living room, dining, and kitchen. Unit 2 is approximately 1,356 square feet and will be located on the second floor that will consist of 3 bedrooms and an open dining, kitchen, and living room. Unit 3 will be approximately 1,348 square feet and will be located on the third floor that will consist of 2 bedrooms, a media room, and open dining, kitchen, and living room as well. Bedroom count here from the original proposal was reduced from 11 bedrooms down to 9, and we have the following violations. We have a roof structure restriction as we are extending that roof line with the addition. We have an FAR and open space violation, as you see here, but unfortunately, these violations would have went away if we were able to combine these lots, but again, just calling to the fact because of this 4-foot easement, we were unable to combine these 2 parcels. We do have an insufficient side yard setback. The addition stays in line with the existing structure. The dimensions, as you can see from the plot plans, which are located back on page 2 and 3. Again, the insufficient rear yard violation, again, we have this violation as we are unable to combine the parcels, again, due to the 4-foot easement. And then the last violation we have is an extension into the rear yard of 1,000 square feet or more. The total proposed square footage for the addition is approximately 1,815 square feet. At this point in time, I am going to pause for any questions from the board.
Thank you. Questions from the board? Okay, hearing none, can I take public testimony?
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, members of the board. I'm Anna White with the Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services. ONS hosted an abutters meeting for 543 East 7th Street on January 11th, 2023. Around a dozen abutters were present. The proponent answered all questions. Neighbors were concerned about the current condition of the property, and a few objected to the proponent increasing the building size, especially in the back. ONS received a call from a direct abutter in opposition, and we received 1 letter in opposition. ONS received 1 letter in support from an abutter as well. At this time, we'd like to defer judgment to the board. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Madam of the Chair, members of the board. Ana Calderon from Council President Flink's office. The councilor would like to go on record in support based on a good community process and feedback from both neighbors and the Gate of Heaven Neighborhood Association. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Kevin, and then Danny.
Hi, yes. Kevin O'Leary, I live at 545 East 7th. I'm speaking on behalf of myself, my fiance, the 2 other owners at 545, and multiple other neighbors throughout the neighborhood who I've spoken with. So I want to thank the Hall Umbrellas and Mr. Spitz. They have been pretty open with their communication. They have been attentive to our.
And you get to whether you're in support or opposition and why. Thank you.
Yes, we are in opposition of the 18-foot addition. We have a backyard that directly abuts it. The 18-foot addition would impact our views from the backyard, impact all of the neighbors with their back decks, would impact the sunlight into the backyard, and the work that would need to be completed, they would have to access our backyard directly and 541's backyard directly, and that would take weeks to months on our property building that addition. So we are on the renovation, we are against the addition.
Thank you. Danny?
Hi, yeah, I live on K Street. There's really nowhere else for us to park right now, so we can't afford to be putting any more cars in the streets. So I support this project, and I support any off-street parking that is not going to take up more spots for me in the street.
Thank you. Tommy, you looking to give testimony here?
Yes, you do. I have a project on East 7th Street. I grew up in South Boston. Beckler Ave is definitely not a dead end or a one-way street. Cars park north to south, south to north. I know people on Beckler Ave are upset, but unfortunately, the parking in South Boston is ridiculous. We need extra spots. Can I continue? Sorry. I'm in support big time. Thank you.
Okay. Let me keep going.
Madam Chair, members of the board, Paul Sullivan, City Council of Michael Flagg, to recommend support.
Bruno M., you looking to give testimony here?
Yes, I believe Tommy was speaking to the wrong. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. Everybody's talking about parking.
Yeah. I'm not sure. Then I'll get to Leslie. Are you looking to give testimony for this proposal?
May I interrupt for a minute? I believe they're speaking about the next South Boston project, 599 East 5th. Sorry about that.
All right, thank you.
Okay.
Additional
So those were not raised hands in support of this project, Anna.
I don't believe so. I think they were talking about the one that impacts Beckler Ave, which is East 5th Street.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Mr. Hampton, can you weigh in so we understand your recommendation?
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the board. Jeff Hampton, Senior Zoning Planner. We recommended denial without prejudice because, as you can see in the plans, the extension comes within just about 3 feet of the property line. So filling in that rear yard is really taking away the open space. The other thing too, there was no landscaping plan provided to us. The plans that were provided to us from ISD simply had that back lot shaded green. If the board were to approve this, I'd ask that their landscaping plan be done and submitted to the BPDA for approval so that that back lot is indeed landscaped and not just left to where it is. But we're on the record as denial without prejudice. Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, may I respond?
Are there any other questions from the board? You can respond all at once.
We have the newer landscape one, landscape drawing as well. We got that this morning, so I did see that.
Okay,
Can
so
you
there is
Can you respond to the concern that you have to access your neighbor's property to build this addition?
Yes, so the response to that is so as you can see where the decks lie existing, the decks are actually extending out approximately 5.1 feet from the actual rear property line. This new addition will be removing those decks and putting on livable space addition that will be approximately 3.1 feet from the property line. So it's in fact a 2-foot increase of the actual existing dwelling. So I don't see how much further that would impact actual views or anything in sight in that sense. Again, because it's a minimal de minimis increase in the actual setback there. And again, if I could address Mr. Hampton's comments as well, Yeah, I'm not quite sure if that recommendation was based upon just this one parcel. And again, we would have preferred to combine these parcels, but we needed to adhere to that 4-foot passageway. It cannot obstruct it in any manner whatsoever. But again, that vacant lot, which is landlocked here, is part of this proposal here, and it will be committed to the landscaping. Is the screen that was just up, the landscaping plan. And again, it will be much more of a view, a better view and a better site compared to what is actually there today. And during the community process, that was one thing that was spoken about the neighbors, considering that, you know, it just collects trash, and the owners have been doing the best they can for the upkeep and maintenance, but they were excited when that space was going to be rejuvenated into a nice green space area too.
And my question about access?
Access, well, I believe in special service allows, you know, when you're city living, there is tight, you know, there's tight quadrants and tight maneuverability when they're making any sort of repairs. And there's an allowance that allows owners to use their neighbor's property by, you know, legally rightful to do such in order to make those repairs. However, you know, liability insurance will be taken out, and the property will be restored if there was any sort of damage that was done to this property. And again, it will be done in a timely, fashionable manner so it doesn't inconvenience any of the owners.
Thank you.
Any other final questions from the board? Okay, hearing none, may I have a motion?
I'll motion to approve with BPDA design review, especially, you know, in regards to the landscape and that back lot area there.
Okay, may I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Stenbridge?
Yes.
Mr. Shepherd?
Yes.
Mr. Valencia?
Yes.
Ms. Pinato?
Yes.
Mr. Collins?
Yes.
Mr. Aiken?
Yes.
Chair also votes yes, motion carries.
Great, thank you.
Next, we have case BOA 1309297. The address of 1 Everett Street. Is the applicant or their representative present?
Yes, sir. Good afternoon, Secretary, Madam Chair, Attorney Joe Hanley, McDermott, Quilty, Miller, 28th State Street in Boston, representing the owner and developer Avery RTG, Mr. Richard Garafo, who's with us. Also with me is Bill Paquette from Pisani Associates, who is the architect for this. If I may, I'd like to take you through the beginning of the presentation and then ask Bill to show you the plans in more detail. Is that okay, Madam Chair?
Yes.
Thank you very much. Next page, please, Madam Ambassador. So just to bring you to the site, 1 Everett Street, you'll see in the yellow hash is a corner lot of about 8,000 square feet at the intersection of Orleans and Everett Street, the Jeffreys Point section of East Boston. It is within, as you'll see here, a 700-foot, very short walk to the Blue Line station, Maverick. Next slide, please. So existing conditions, we have an existing non-conforming structure and uses in the 3F2000 zone. You'll see in the foreground, 1 Everett Street, it is an existing single-story building with a couple garage bays and a small extension. It is almost all covered with asphalt, the remaining section of it not producing at its highest and best use. Currently, East Boston CrossFit is a tenant in the garage section, and the Suffolk DA's office has an office use. So existing use, fitness and office. Next slide, please. Sorry about that. So what we are proposing is a development without displacement that would activate this, this prominent corner site and improve the environment and bring housing and keep the mixed uses which are there today. So what that means currently is we are proposing a 3-story building, which you'll see in the plans to follow, but if you stay on this slide, I'll go through this very quickly. And 14 residential units on the 2nd and 3rd level. This is intended to be a boutique home ownership, condominium home ownership. Those units are a mix of 2 bedrooms, 1 bedrooms, and studios from about 1,000 square feet down to 450 at the studio level. We have 7 parking spaces, which we think is an appropriate amount considering the location and also the need for some open space. So as part of this project, we started 2 years ago reaching out. We were in the Jeffreys Point neighborhood, as I mentioned, working with the Jeffreys Point Neighborhood Association. We had 8 meetings with them. On May 11th, they sent you a letter of support, which we're very proud of. There was a lot of work. We started with a 4-story building that was subject to Article 80 small project review, 4.5 stories, 30 units. Through this iterative process over the last 2 years, we have reduced that so it's now less than Article 80's threshold and is 3 stories and 14 units with 7 parking spaces. We also received a recommendation from the BPDA on February 17th, which we worked hard to address. We are in the East Boston iPod section. We greatly appreciate the guidance from the BPDA. What we heard was early on when we were a small project was there was concern from the BPDA about the height. So we took it down to 3 stories. And that obviously took us out of Article 80. They then issued a recommendation with concern about lot coverage, which we clarified. We're merely 39% lot coverage for the building footprint. We also reduced the dimensions of the driveway so that we'd have less surface area. And we changed the parking access area to permeable paving and added additional green and open space buffering. Very much aware that we're in the iPod and looking forward to continuing to work with the BPDA should we have the pleasure of being approved. At this point, I'd like to hand it over to Bill Paquette to take you through the plans. I'm sorry, speak to the zoning quick and then hand it off to Bill Paquette. So just very quickly, Madam Chair, as I mentioned, we are in a 3F 2000 zone. The 2 uses that we're seeking to keep, East Boston CrossFit is a local owned and operated business, which we're providing a new space for, and also to keep the small office space, which Suffolk County DA is interested in coming back to as well. Those 2 require variances because, again, they're existing non-conforming, as does the multifamily residential. We are compliant with the height at 34 feet. 35 is required. We require variance for FAR. 1 is required. We're at 1.91, so it's fairly modest. And the existing nonconformities with respect to the lot area, we do not have enough, so we need a variance for the minimum lot area ratio. We are modal with the front yard and complying with the side. And the other thing I will note, we are in an overlay for groundwater conservation overlay district. Some time ago, we submitted the full approval letter from Boston Water and Sewer, which should be in your files with ISD. Next slide, and Bill Paquette. Bill?
Well, just a quick question. I know you mentioned you went out of Article 80 process, so are there any affordable units associated with this?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, we have 2 affordable units, and as you'll see in this site plan, one of the things that we heard from the BPDA after getting under Article 80 was sort of like, do we have too much parking? And this is a home ownership program, and so we're trying to balance permeability and open space, but also activation for a mixed-use building, which you're seeing here. And so we have 2 affordable units, and we'll need to go through the BPDA process for that, but we're proud that we're able to add those, especially as the need is for home ownership in particular.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Joe. So, Madam Chair, members of the board, what's on your screens right now is a site plan that we're proposing. And just as way of explanation, the colored paving around the building is white. The colored paving around the building is actually the building setback from the property lines. So we're providing a wider a sidewalk than the existing sidewalk now. We're set back 5 feet from the sidewalks at both Everett Street and Orleans. The residential entrance is at the end of the building. That's more towards the bottom of your screen. The commercial entrance is at the corner of Everett and Orleans, so the two are distinctly separate. This plan also shows the parking in the rear of the building. Where the cars are indicated is actually underneath the second floor above, so it's covered parking, but it is open. We show 7 spaces, one of which is a space that will be dedicated to be a rental space dedicated to the building occupants, and that would be an electric car with a charging station. We also show the addition of 5 trees, and on Orleans currently there's a very wide curb cut that we propose to eliminate entirely, although we would like to introduce a loading spot right in front of the residential entrance that could be for package delivery or a rideshare pickup. And the actual parking access is off Everett Street. There's an existing curb cut there now that we would relocate to align with the driveway entrance. Next slide, please. This slide shows the elevation along at the top is the Orleans Street elevation. And this shows the relative height to what the ZoomX building, which is the abutting building. We're virtually at the same height. You can see we're 3-story. The residential entrance is indicated in brick. We have the stair and elevator tower we propose in brick, and the rest of that ground floor would be mostly glass on Orleans Street with more brick introduced on Everett Street. 2 stories of residential above with the sort of articulation of the units. I think Joe went through the units. Next slide, please. The top shows the back elevation. It shows the parking below with units above with some balconies. These are south east-facing balconies. In the lower elevation shows the brick stair and elevator for the residential use, and the 2 floors of residential units above parking. The next slide, please. The ground floor plan, we show 3 commercial spaces of 1,000 square feet, 335 square feet, and 540 square feet. I think this configuration can be adjusted as the project moves forward. You can see the commercial entrance is on the corner. The residential entrance is more towards the bottom of the drawing, towards ZoomX. Stairway and elevator with direct access to the parking in the rear, as well as from Orleans Street. Next slide, please. This shows the residential floors. They're very, very similar, virtually identical. We have on each floor there are 2 studios, 4 1-bedroom units, and there's a 2-bedroom unit at the corner of the building. The only difference is on the top floor there is some access. Some of the units have access to individually dedicated roof decks. Next slide, please.
In the pink hash, you'll see, Madam Chair, the affordable units.
Yes.
Sorry.
Thank you.
And this just shows a roof plan with decks accessible directly from units below. You see the decks are set well back from the edge of the building. And then we also show a common mechanical room on the roof to provide centralized mechanical system for the building. Next slide. Section showing the relative height. There's an apartment building across the street, which will be taller than what we propose. This shows the parking below the second floor. Next slide. Once again, an exterior image taken from Orleans Street looking at the corner and the building in general. Next. An image looking down Orleans Street from in front of the ZoomX building. And one more, please. And a bird's eye view showing the building and its general context in the neighborhood. I believe that's it, so I'll turn it back over to you. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions from the board?
Yes, Madam Chair, I do have a few questions.
Yes.
Thank you for this presentation. I walk by the site regularly. A couple of questions. Can you confirm that basically where there are no street trees now, you're planning and going for approvals to plant what looks like 5 or 6 street trees?
Yes, sir, Mr. Aiken, we're very excited about it. We're inspired by, East Boston has been advocating for full growth tree canopies, and there are none today. This is really just all asphalt that's there. So we'll have full, and as Bill indicated, Mr. Aiken, because we're widening the sidewalk, these are narrow sidewalks that allows us to have adequate tree breaks, which then has these trees to survive and continue to flourish and have deep roots. So, yes, sir.
Thank you. And then can you talk a little bit more about kind of the street level there? You've got some outdoor seating. You're going to have the CrossFit there. What's going to be the sort of pedestrian experience, as Ms. Pinato brought up in prior cases there with the fitness center? What is going to be the seating? Is that intended only then for private use because it's within private property when the fitness center is open? Just not quite clear exactly what's being proposed there and why.
Yeah, so you walk by this, and Javier, who's a local business owner, it's a popular East Boston CrossFit, and obviously we want to be able to contain the sound, which you can't really do now because that's within, but after a workout, the idea is to have a little bit of seating, and that also can be used. It's not a huge space, but also can be used by folks that are passing by, and really to activate the ground floor. Bill, do you want to add anything to that?
No, I think that pretty well describes it. I think it's a space that's possibility to have a few tables and chairs. Could be a place to sit down and have a soda after a workout or something like that. I think that's how we see it.
Yeah, and we're going to have new homeowners obviously living above, so we're really trying to integrate this and activate this corner, which has been neglected for a while.
Okay, and then it looks like you have some outdoor space for some units, but perhaps none of the units in the front have any outdoor space. Is that correct?
That's correct. That's correct. The rear spaces have balconies, and some of the front units, a couple of the front units on the top floor have the roof decks. Otherwise, they don't have dedicated open space. Some of the units.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. D'Amico, do you have your hand on this?
Yes, Madam Chair, members of the board, Bob D'Amico, BTD. I'd like to request clarification of the loading and unloading location.
Bill, do you want to, so thank you, Bob. It's something that, it's a relatively small mixed use component here, right, with square footage. One is the fitness use, the other is the office. So not expected to generate a lot of receiving, but there is a commercial aspect. So Bill, do you want to speak to what we're thinking about here? You see on the plan?
Yes, I'd like to discuss it because you can't take away space on a public street for private use.
Yeah, yes, sir. Right now, there are no spaces. There's a giant curb cut that runs almost the entire linear section. So we're actually not taking away spaces. We're bringing back spaces or delivering spaces to the neighborhood.
So where's the location for loading and unloading? I don't see it.
Well, the intent was to have a space in front of the residential entrance that would be used for, instead of having a delivery truck blocking the street, it'd be good to have a place for the delivery truck to pull over while delivering packages in the area. And also for Uber and Lyft for ride sharing, a taxi, be good to have a place in front of the door for that sort of pickup, because a lot of people use those services. And if you have 14 units, there may be people that want to use those services. And also it could be available for other people in the neighborhood. It wouldn't be necessarily dedicated to our proposed building, but it would be a place that would be available for the general services as described, to pull over and be off the street.
Yeah, Mr. D'Amico, this was something that was driven in part by the Article 80 process when we started, when we were subject to small project review to have that facility. But clearly now that we're out of that, should we have the pleasure of approval, we would be looking to work with your office and the BPDA on the appropriateness of this.
Okay, let me say, I don't know whether I'm clear or not. Where is the loading and unloading space? Can you please show me?
Hey, could we see the site plan, please? The colored site plan?
Page sixth page, if you may, Madam Chair, Madam Ambassador.
Are you able to scroll back, Madam Ambassador?
Bottom right, it's A1.0.
Thank you.
Okay. At the very, near the residential entrance, right in front of the residential entrance, it's just indicated, and it's next to the wide curb cut that gives a zoom to Zoomix's parking area. So it'd be really a continuation of their space.
Okay, so it's off the street. It's not on the street.
No, it's on the street.
Okay, you can't do that.
Well, it's not the.
Okay, excuse me.
The-
I'll make my comments known when there's a vote.
Okay, just to clarify too, there is no requirement for off-street loading here based on the de minimis size of this mixed use of commercial space. However, as you'll see, we do have a dedicated driveway, which we've made narrower in working with BPDA, but certainly we have the ability to accommodate this and to work proactively, which I think we've demonstrated over the last 2 years, should we have the opportunity to work with you further, Mr. D'Amico. Thank you.
Madam Chair, just let me say this. They're a block away from Maverick Station. I know I've lived in Jeffreys Point for 60 years, and there's absolutely no need to have a drop-off or pickup spot for Ubers or taxis or whatever it may be. And, well, like I said, I just want to go on the record and be in opposition to this plan for loading and unloading on a public street.
Thank you, Bob. Any other questions from the board? Okay, hearing none, can we have public testimony?
Yes, good morning, Madam Chair, or good afternoon, Madam Chair, members of the board. Natalia Benitez with the Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services. ONS hosted an abutters meeting for the current proposal on September 27, 2022. Only one abutter attended the meeting and voiced full support for the project. The applicant also has met 8 different times with the Jeffreys Point Neighborhood Association. The association had voted to oppose to the initial proposal, so the applicant then agreed to reduce the square footage, reduce 16 units and 1.5 stories. Ultimately, the developer worked with the association and community, so the Jeffreys Point Neighborhood Association issued a letter of support with 11 residents in favor and 6 in opposition. Our office has received 5 letters in support, and at this time, our office would like to defer judgment to the board. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, members of the board. My name is Sebastian Parra. I'm the East Boston Liaison for City Councilor Arcoleta. Based on JPNA support of this project, the council would like to vote in support of it as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other raised hands?
Madam Chair, members of the board, Mina Perez representing the Carpenters Union. On behalf of our Boston residents, we'd like to go on record in support of the project.
Madam Chair, I have no additional raised hands at the moment.
Thank you. Any other final questions from the board? Okay, with that, may I have a motion?
Do we want to hear the BPDA recommendation on this?
Yeah, we
Sorry,
can. Yes.
Ms. Pinato, my hand was stuck. This originally was before you back in January, so it's almost been 4 months since they asked for a deferral on our concerns on the project. And I know they've met at least 2 times in the community and with staff at the BPDA to address their concerns. And although we only get one bite at the apple, the BPDA is comfortable with with how the appellant has addressed the concerns that we have moved forward. So I would just ask if the board were to approve it, that we ask for design review on this. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay.
So I'll make a motion for approval with BPDA design review.
May I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Stenbridge? Are you muted, Mr. Stenbridge?
Yes, I was.
Okay. Can you vote?
To answer your question, yes.
Thank you. Mr. Shepherd?
Yes.
Mr. Valencia?
Yes.
Ms. Pinato?
Yes.
Mr. Collins?
Yes.
Mr. Aiken?
Yes.
Chair also votes yes. Motion carries. Good luck.
Thank you.
Next, we have case BOA 950-222, the address of 1 Carmen Street, and this is a companion case to case BOA 950-227 with the address of 1A Carmen Street. Is the applicant and/or their representative present?
Yes, I am. Madam Chair, members of the board. This is Mike Ross, excuse me. Law firm at Prince LaBelle. I'm here with my colleague, Les Hawkins. We're also here with architect James Christopher. This is a proposal to replace a 5-bay garage with a 3-unit building. What you see here on slide 1 is a site plan. There's the existing 3-family on the left, and the proposed project is there on the right. This is an existing. You could just stay here for a second, Madam Ambassador, if you could. There you go. This is an existing 6,000 square foot lot. Most lots in this immediate area, this 3F5000 district, are non-conforming. At around 6,000 square feet, the effort here is to divide this lot and then to build on the corner, what you see there on the corner of Carmen and Vassar, a three-family house in that site. There is a curb cut on Vassar Street, and what's there today at the corner of Vassar and Carmen is a 5-bay garage. So I'll show you that in a second. If you go to the next slide, please. So this is your kind of floor plan and site plan still. You can see both at the top and at the bottom, you can see the existing curb cut on Vassar Street for the unit. You can see the floor plan on the corner of what is Unit 1. And here, what you can see are the other lot sizes that are on both Carmen Street and Vassar Street. Carmen at the top and Vassar at the bottom. And the Vassar Street lots are around 3,500 square feet, as I mentioned. And then our lot is right there at the corner as proposed with the split. Next slide, please. So this is now a closer floor plan version of both the existing 3-family building on the left and the proposed 3-family building on the right. What you see here now is Unit 1. The first floor, Unit 1, is a duplex. It's a 1,609 square foot duplex with all living, all bedroom on the first floor, and then in the bottom floor, the basement unit is no bedrooms. But it is living room space. So I'll show you that on the next slide, if you will, Ambassador. And you look on the right, that's your floor plan for the basement plan there. So we're really beginning with the right, going right to left. That's your basement unit for unit 1. So what we did there, the changes, this is obviously was a deferral, and we're coming back to. So one of the key changes that we made were we moved the bedroom spaces up to the top floor. So that's a 2-bedroom, 2-bath now, with the basement unit having no further living space in terms of bedrooms. So that what you have there is just the like the kitchen and the living room area and the bathroom. You'll also see bubbles on both sides of the building. So what those bubbles are, where they reflect changes to the plan, they were increased window well sizes and increased window openings on both of those. So I'll show you an elevation in a minute so you can get a sense of what we're looking at there. But those were the key changes that were made before, and after the deferral. The center floor plan shows you the entirety of Unit 2. Unit 2 is a 1,090 square foot, 3-bedroom, 2-bath unit. And then at the rear of Unit 2, you see the outdoor space, which is a porch that overhangs the property. And then on the third unit on the left, most part of these plans, is Unit 3, and that's a 1,090 square foot unit. Again, that is also a 3-bedroom, 2-bath with open space in the rear of the building. Next slide, please. So here, slide 5 are your elevations. It shows you the kind of increased size of the casement window in the basement, as well as the increased window well size. It shows you the front of the building on the left that is accessible. You can see the ramp there allowing access. It shows you also the parking area. That's an existing curb cut that's there today. And then it shows you those 2 balconies off the right, off the back of the building. It's also, there is a little bit of open space as well on the front of the building, those 2 balconies there that you see on the left. Next slide, please. So these are the other 2 elevations, the right side of the building and the rear side of the building. And then as you can see there, we increased, we put 2 casement windows in that case, and also increased the size of the window well. So those were the main changes to the plan. Next slide, please. We did prepare this internal elevation in case any questions were about what the basement unit looks like. So the basement unit, again, there's no bedrooms down there, but to the extent that there's any space down there, the space is 8-foot ceilings, and the sill height begins at 36 inches. Next slide, please. So here, I just wanted to show you what's there today. As you can see, it's a tightly kind of tight community here in terms of all the lot sizes in the area. And what this lot has today, and what we're proposing to change, is it has this 5-bay, 1-story garage just kind of stationed here. And what we're proposing again is to replace it with the 3-family house. So the next slide shows you kind of this, next slide please, will show you what we're proposing in rendering format right there. And then let me just quickly, if I could, go through the zoning. So there's 2 zonings. There's an ERT and ALT associated with this proposal. We were able to reduce the number of zoning violations by 3 in total. The ERT, the proposed project here that you see that we're proposing was cited for several violations. I'll quickly run through those. Parking requires 1 parking space per unit. We have 2 spaces. The traffic visibility in that this is at a corner, building alignment to the other existing building frontages, The lot area, as I mentioned, is undersized. We're at 2539 in a 5,000. The lot width, which I've mentioned throughout the district, is also around 40. This is at 38.9 in what's required to be 50 feet. The lot frontage is the same as the width. The FAR, we're in a 0.5 FAR district. Again, most everyone is over FAR. We're at 1.83. Number of stories, we're okay on height, but stories, the requirement is 2.5, we're at 3. The side yard requires 10. Again, most aren't conforming, we're at 2. And then the rear yard, same, most are non-conforming, we're at 19 as opposed to a required 30. Because the house on the left was divided to allow for that parcel, it created 4 violations. Parking, the lot area for the house on the left is actually 3458 square feet in a 5,000. The FAR for the house on the left would be 1.73, and then the side yard setback on the left would be 7.2. Maybe I'll pause there and see if there are any questions.
Thank you. Are there any questions from the board? Okay, hearing none.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, members of the board. Ashley Gold from the Office of Neighborhood Services. Some background information on the community process. Our office did hold an abutters meeting of July of 2022. The applicant had community engagement presenting to the Harvard-Washington Knoll Association about 5 times. The proponent did feel that they made changes in detailed requirements to suffice the abutters and civic association. With that, the Harvard-Washington Knoll Neighborhood Association has rejected their support in this project, but one letter in support from a local abutter. In closing, we'd like to defer the judgment to the board at this time. Thank you.
Are there any other?
We're looking to get testimony here?
Yes, ma'am. Good afternoon, Madam Chair, members of the board. My name is Ayamide Omwiwa from the Office of City Councilor Brian Worrell. And in regards to 1/1A Carmen Street and the feedback from butters, including the changes that were made, they have committed to installing security cameras and committed to no construction on the weekends. And like Ms. Gomes said, there's one letter of support from the abutting civic. And with that, the council would like to defer to the board and recommends a BPDA design review if approved.
Thank you. Bob D'Amico?
Yes, Madam Chair, members of the board, Bob D'Amico, BTD. I know one of the violations is visibility across the corner, but this is something that is quite usual, so I have no opposition to that violation. Thank you.
Thank you.
I have no additional raised hands.
Any other questions from the board? Hearing none, may I have a motion?
A motion to approve with BPDA. Yeah.
May I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Stumbridge,
Yes.
Mr. Shepherd,
Yes.
Mr. Valencia,
Yes.
Ms. Panado,
Yes.
Mr. Collins,
Yes.
Mr. Aiken.
Yes.
Chair also votes yes. Motion carries. Good luck.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Next, we have case BOA 1404304. The address being 599 to 601 East 5th Street. Is the applicant and or their representative present?
Yes, Mr. Secretary, Madam Chair, members of the board, Attorney Ryan Spitz with Adams and Moranci, business address of 168 H Street, first floor, South Boston. Joining me today is the owner, Andrew Ulrich. The proposal in front of us today is for a use of premise permit to allow for 3 off-street parking spaces in the rear of 599 East 5th Street, which is an existing 3-family. I just wanted to clarify that the advertisement in the agenda was incorrect for this. That was the previous proposal. Our revised plans were submitted and were accepted and were sent back to us reflecting the change in the plans to 3 parking spaces, as well as an updated refusal. So this proposal calls for 3 side-by-side spaces measuring 8.5 by 20 feet. The rear parking will be accessed by a public way named Beckler Avenue, which is located off of K Street. Just want to give you a little more insight on Beckler Avenue. So Beckler Avenue is a public way and a dead-end street, which leads directly into the rear lot of 599 East 5th Street. There is parking only on the right-hand side of Beckler Ave. Currently, South Boston residents pull down Beckler Ave and then will have to reverse out of Beckler Ave onto K Street as there is no maneuverability to turn their vehicles around and drive the nose of the car out back onto K Street. As for this parking proposals, cars will safely drive straight down Beckler Avenue to an already existing 9-foot, 10-inch opening to access the parking area. When exiting, there is sufficient space for the vehicles to maneuver entirely on their own property and then drive safely straight down Beckler Avenue to back down to K Street. On the first page of the drawings, there's a scaled image from Google Maps showing the existing condition, which is an in-ground pool, or what's remaining of an in-ground pool in the surrounding paving. Next is the proposed condition showing permeable pavers for the parking spaces to assist with drainage, a new shade tree in the rear yard, and evergreen plantings in the 4-foot side yard buffer. The specified shrub columnar English yew is a salt tolerant to withstand the winter salts. There's also a locust plant in the upper left corner. Lastly, a comprehensive drainage plan has already been approved by the Boston Water and Sewer Company. That leads us with, we have on the updated refusal, we were cited for 2 violations. One, for access to the parking area is not 10 foot wide. Again, I just want to reiterate, there's an existing passageway already in place that is 9 feet, 10 inches. And then also we were cited for open space, but we believe this citation was given in error. Currently, as far as open space, there's approximately 2,365 square feet of open space. But with the parking allocated into it, it reduces the open space down to 1,001 square feet. What is compliant here is 200 square feet per unit. So that would give us an equivalent of 600 square feet for this existing 3-family home here. So again, that violation would be given an error. So at this point in time, I'm going to pause for any questions from the board.
Thank you. And I think ONS can answer this, but again, you were advertised for 6 and BPDA's recommendation is based on 6 parking spaces. Has there been process since then around the 3?
Yes, there was, and I'm sure Anna White from the mayor's office can actually testify. So we've had 2 abutters meetings and as well as a full in-person civic meeting as well.
Okay. Any other questions from the board? Okay, hearing none, let's go to public testimony.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, members of the board. I'm Anna White with the Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services. ONS hosted a butters meeting for 599-601 East 5th Street on November 29th, 2022. Close to a dozen abutters attended the meeting. The ones who spoke had many concerns and objections about the proposal. The main concern had to do with increasing the number of cars driving on Beckler Avenue. We've received 5 letters in opposition and 2 in support. Those have all been shared with this board. At this time, I'd like to defer judgment to the board. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Madam of the Chair, members of the board. Ana Calderon from Council President Flynn's office. The councilor would like to go on record in opposition due to this proposal based on his long-standing focus on pedestrian safety in the neighborhood. Of note, there was a good community process where the team worked with neighbors on several designs of the project, a number of parking spaces, as well as attention to drainage or snow removal issues, which did gain support in the community. However, other neighbors, abutters, and young families on Beckler Avenue ultimately expressed concern that this project will change the dynamic of the dead-end street that they have known and will lead to pedestrian safety issues. At this time, Council President Flynn is opposed due to his focus on pedestrian safety. Thank you.
Madam Chair, members of the board, also City Councilor at-large Michael Flaherty. acknowledging the community process that went to drafting Article 68, there are projects that do warrant merit. This do one. The councilor has heard from all parties in the neighborhood due to this project. There was a community process where the proposal went through some reiterations with neighbors on designs as far as the number of spaces, attention to drainage and snow removal. There is some support at this particular time. Council feels that with the parking crisis going on in South Boston, that 6 spaces would be helpful in the neighborhood. Due to that, I'd like to recommend support.
Danny?
Yeah, I support any and all off-street parking.
Oh, can you state your name and address for the record?
Oh, I live on K Street, 305 K Street, Danny Picard. We can't find any parking on the street as it is. It's really getting out of hand. It's ridiculous. So I support this project strongly, and I support any and all off-street parking.
Thank you. Tommy, go ahead. Can you state your name and address for the record? Tell us if you're in support and opposition.
Can you hear me? 573 East 7th Street. We have a couple projects there. Developer, I'm in support of the project. Cars go north to south, south to north on Beckler Ave. It's not like they go down one specific way every way. We have, they provided multiple pictures of cars being north to south, south to north. I think it's great for the neighborhood, 3 additional spots. Although Beckler Ave, they like to have kids out there. This is, about parking, and they park on their street. So I support the project, and looking forward to 3 additional spots.
Thank you. Thank you. No additional raised hands.
Mr. Hampton, would you like to weigh in?
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair, members of the board. Jeff Hampton, Planning and Zoning. Our recommendation was for denial, but that was based on 6 spaces and tandem spots at that. I know that the proponent has reduced it down to 3, has increased the amount of open space between the house and the parking areas. If the board does approve this, I would just ask that they put proviso that there be screening and buffering around the property. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions from the board?
We were asking Mr. D'Amico for his opinion on this one. If Mr. D'Amico is here.
Yes, yes, Madam Chair and members of the board, Bob Nico, BTD. I have reviewed the plans, and it does work from an operational standpoint. And we are inundated with complaints from South Boston about the lack of parking. And I think that to a small degree, this would help that situation. Based on the design, I have no problem with it, and I give my support for this project. Thank you.
Thank you. With that, may I have a motion?
I'll motion to approve with BPDA design review as to the screening.
In screening and buffering?
Yes, correct.
Okay, may I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Stenbridge?
Yes.
Mr. Shepherd?
Yes.
Mr. Valencia?
Yes.
Ms. Panado?
Yes.
Mr. Collins?
Yes.
Mr. Aiken?
Yes.
Chair also votes yes, motion carries. Are folks good with a 10-minute break, or do you want to carry on? Okay, let's take a 10-minute break. Thank you.
Recording stopped.
Mr. Stenbridge?
Yes, Madam Chair.
Mr. Shepherd?
Present.
Mr. Valencia?
Present.
Ms. Panado?
Present.
Mr. Collins?
Here.
Mr. Akins?
I'm here.
All right, good to go, Mr. Stenbridge.
Going into the hearings for 1 p.m. First we have is case VOA 1446970, with the address being 207 to 209 E Street. This is also an Article 80 project. Is the applicant and or their representative present?
Yes, this is Dave Foss from Pierce Atwood. I'm representing the appellant. Also with me is Donna Brown, Executive Director, South Boston Neighborhood Development Corporation. And I believe our architect, Michelle Apigian, is on as a panelist as well. I guess I should jump in by the summary here. This property is located at 207-209 East Street in South Boston. It was formerly used as a convent for the Catholic Church, and most recently has been used by an organization called Paraclete, a nonprofit who provides academic enrichment services. The appellant has entered into a contract to purchase the property. We're looking to redevelop it as affordable housing while preserving the existing building. So the overall development plan is to do 36 units, 35 of which will be affordable to seniors. There'll be one manager unit in the building. The current affordability on this is, I believe, 16 of the units to persons earning up to 30% of the area median income, and the remaining 19 rented to seniors earning up to 50% of the area median income. So there's a really high level of affordability here. The project will involve the restoration of the existing building, in particular the facade, preservation of the front yard. As you can see in this picture, it's a pretty large front yard area, which is rare in this neighborhood. And then there's going to be an addition onto the rear of the building, as you can see here. So we're looking for relief from various requirements. We've obtained an affordable housing acceleration certificate from the city. So I'll mention that while the project is cited for off-street parking and loading violation, there, as affordable housing, that requirement will not apply here. And the other violations, in particular, are related to the new addition. At this point, do we have Donna or Michelle available to?
I'll jump in.
Give some more insight on the design.
So I'll start with a little bit about the program. My name is Donna Brown. I'm the Executive Director of South Boston Neighborhood Development Corporation. And this site is a rare opportunity in South Boston for us to acquire a privately owned property and convert it to 100% affordable senior housing, which is a growing need not only in our neighborhood but across the city. So the Paraclete Foundation has agreed to sell us the site with for a below market price, $1 million less than the appraised value of the site, with two conditions. They wanted us to preserve the existing building and the facade and the front open space to the benefit of the community, and also to commemorate the use of the site as a convent. We're proposing 35 units. We currently manage some other affordable senior housing developments, and this number of units is really key for us to be able to provide the services that seniors need on site. We're proposing an addition at the rear of the site, since the condition of the sale is that we preserve the front open space in order to provide 2 elevators, which is necessary for senior housing, and to provide sufficient number of units. So we've been working with the community. We've submitted over 100 letters of support on this project. This is, again, a rare opportunity for us to create some very, very needed affordable senior housing. Michelle Opinion can walk you through the designs. She's our architect from Icon Architecture.
Thanks, Donna. So as you can see here in the site plan, we're really maintaining that green forecourt, which is such a gem in the neighborhood, working with some new pathways to make sure that it's fully accessible for the senior population. And we've got a new entrance to the building that's in the addition at the rear, where, as Donna mentioned, there are 2 elevators as well as a new code-compliant stair. We're maintaining around the property not only the existing building and enhancing its facade, or repairing its facade, but also there's a lovely masonry fence that surrounds a good portion of the site and has some wrought iron as well associated with that. So we're maintaining all of that and using the existing entrance off of E Street as our access point, but then coming to Plan South along the edge of the building toward the addition at the rear. Next slide. Just a little bit about the plans. The lower plan is showing that ground level where you're seeing at the new wing lobby space, as well as an office that can provide opportunity for service coordinator and property management, trash, which of course is one of those things that has to be dealt with on site. And then the existing building is primarily units, all the way up with one exception. On the second floor, a sitting room. Second floor is quite special. It used to have a chapel in it, and it's got a higher floor to floor and taller windows. So we wanted to provide some community space there that might be more quiet and look over that green space. Otherwise, the units just begin to stack as you go up the building. Next. So the third and fourth floor are really the same, just maintaining that unit stacking. And then on the top floor, one thing that we could see in the axonometric at the beginning, but perhaps wasn't so obvious, is there's a really lovely solarium in the existing building that is a actual fifth floor and was accessed with an elevator, which of course is not code compliant. We're maintaining that solarium and augmenting it, infilling all the way across the width of the existing building to offer additional community space, as well as a laundry room so folks can kind of relax and connect while they might be waiting for their laundry. Next. Keep going. Next. So here's an axon of what you'd see from the street. As you can see, that addition is really a bit of a peekaboo. There's not a lot of it that's visible from the street. You can just barely kind of catch that fifth floor solarium on the existing building. So the new addition is intended to equate with that height of that fifth floor. And it is building off of, so we didn't want to compete with the masonry facade of the existing building. We really want that to shine on its own, but we are introducing some terracotta to kind of relate to that masonry approach, and then infilling with clapboard. And on the top floor of the solarium, there's beautiful copper work. So we're thinking about some sort of copper-like element that really differentiates that fifth floor. And you can see here the wrought iron fence as well as some of the posts. Next. Here, the front facade, you're seeing sort of the full mass of the existing versus the new construction, where we're building that solarium all the way across the width of the building. Next. And then the elevations, as was mentioned, we're asking for relief primarily associated with the setbacks for the new addition. It is a tight squeeze to get it in there, and so on this facade, is within 3 feet or just 3 feet of the property line, which is why there are no windows on the new construction wing of this particular facade. Next. Here we're seeing the rear facade where there is a projection that cantilevers over the ground level so that there's ability to access the trash room and have a sidewalk against the existing masonry fence that we really want to maintain and didn't want to undermine. Next. And then this is the southwest elevation where you're seeing the elevation of the ramp coming up to the new entrance to the building, which has a little lattice canopy over it, and then the lobby space at the ground level with units above. Next. I think that's it. No,
thank you.
Questions?
Are there questions from the board? Okay, hearing none, may I have public testimony?
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, members of the board. I'm Anna Waite with the Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services. 207 through 209 East Street was a BPDA project. The BPDA held a robust community process. The proponent has submitted a petition in support with over 80 signatures from Boston and the surrounding area. The Cityside Neighborhood Association opposes this project due to lack of parking, even though they support senior housing, especially in this neighborhood. Cityside leadership made the decision because there are too many residents, in their opinion, opposed to the addition of 35 units being built with no parking. At this time, we'd like to defer judgment to the board. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Madam of the Chair, members of the board. Ana Calderon from Council President Blink's office. The council strongly supports this proposal. Affordable housing is desperately lacking in South Boston. The increasing pressure of the real estate market has led to the displacement of many low and moderate income residents, putting our seniors in a particularly vulnerable position. The property on East Street provides a unique opportunity to protect a beloved community building, formerly a convenient of the St. Augustine Parish, while providing much needed senior housing for the neighborhood. The councilor has worked with South Boston and DC on community events and is impressed by their dedication and hard work on behalf of our community. They have a strong organization and track record for the development and management of affordable housing and is dedicated to serving the community through neighborhood development and community outreach. We appreciate the opportunity for us to provide this testimony and ask that the board please approve this proposal. Thank you.
Thanks. Caitlin? BPD, are you looking to give testimony here, Caitlin Coppinger?
Oh, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Awesome, thank you. Good afternoon, Madam Chair, members of the board. My name is Caitlin Coppinger, and I'm a senior project manager at the BPDA. This project completed its Article 80 review process, including one BPDA-sponsored public meeting, and additional proponent-hosted abutters meetings, and was approved by the BPDA board on January 19th, 2023. I wanted to emphasize the planning review that went into this BPDA determination that this adaptive reuse of the existing buildings and appropriate redevelopment of the site. The key considerations of BPDA staff during review of the proposed project included the provision of several accessible entrances for the site for the residents of the building, as well as preservation of the existing mature trees on site to the maximum extent possible, and also providing adequate maneuverability for the 2 proposed parking spaces on the side of the building. This project will provide much needed affordable senior housing to South Boston. The BPDA board found that the project to be consistent with the city's goals and has the full support of the agency and the board. This project also received support from many members of the community, elected officials, as Anna White had said before. Thank you very much.
Thanks. Leslie, are you looking to give testimony here?
Yes.
Go ahead, Leslie.
Sorry. My name's good afternoon. My name's Leslie Lakis. I'm a resident of 12 Beckler Avenue. I put my name in because we did not have an opportunity to speak on 599-601 East 5th.
We're done with that case. Are you looking to give testimony on this one?
No, but I didn't get a chance.
Okay, let me get Minor. Go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Ambassador. Madam Chair, members of the board, Minor Perez representing the Carpenters Union. It is with pleasure we go on support of this project. And we think it's a great project for the community. Thank you.
Thank you. Louis?
Madam,
go ahead.
Madam Chair, members of the board, Paul Sullivan for City Council at large, Michael Flaherty.
We had previously submitted a letter along with Council President Ed Flynn to the BPDA. We are in support here today. The councilor would like to state that the property on East Street provides a unique opportunity to protect the beloved community building, formerly a convent of St. Augustine, Paris. While providing much-needed senior housing in the neighborhood, we've been advocating for senior housing in South Boston for a number of years now, and like to go on record in strong support. Thank you.
Luis, are you looking to give testimony for this proposal?
Hello, good afternoon. My name is Luis. I'm a resident of 201-205 East Street in 7N. That's the building that's actually facing the Parklet Convent. I think that I represent the feeling of all of our community about supporting the affordable housing project, but not the way it's being devised. The addition in the back of the building that will eliminate the parking, completely the parking spots in the back, will block the sunlight to the north-facing units of the building, will dramatically reduce the open space and separation between buildings, and will impact the privacy of the units that are facing north in 201, 205 East Street. On top of that, we are concerned about having the entrance on the side, and the way the entrance to the building has been conceived will have serious impact on accessibility to the new community and to our existing community. 2 out of 11 parking spots are going to remain. The alley between buildings is going to literally turn into one-way cul-de-sac, one-way street, just for servicing and accessing the buildings. There is no maneuverability for vehicles to go in and out there. That they will have to back up to the street all the way. And I think that's especially critical when we are talking about emergency vehicles, ambulances, and especially firefighters that will compromise the accessibility to fight any emergency, not only in our community, also in private buildings and in the back of the buildings that are on Lawrence Street on the other side, because the parking lot where the access is going to be built is the only existing open space in that block.
Thank you. Okay, I have no additional raised hands.
Would the applicant like to address that before we proceed? That last comment.
Yes, I think we were trying to balance the need for enough units to make an affordable senior housing project feasible with the requirements of the seller to preserve the open space in the front of the building, which benefits the entire neighborhood. The building that we're proposing is really not any closer to the property line than Mr. Alonso's building at 201 E Street. And so we've tried to address their concerns, but the project would not be feasible if we didn't do an addition at the rear to accommodate the elevators. We've also moved the entrance to the side so that there's elevator access and handicapped access without having to make a major alteration to the front facade of the building, which is also a requirement of the seller to preserve the front facade. So, and the rear part of the building where the solarium is now is where the building is 5 stories. So any elevator would need to go to the 5 stories. It needs to be at the back of the building. And that's why we've designed the building the way it is.
Thank you, Ms. Brown. Any other questions from the board? Hearing none, may I have a motion?
Madam Chair, I would like to make a motion to approve the project.
May I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Stenbridge?
Yes.
Mr. Shepherd?
Yes.
Mr. Valencia?
Yes.
Ms. Panado?
Yes.
Mr. Collins?
Yes.
Mr. Aiken?
Yes.
Chair also votes yes. Motion carries. Good luck.
Thank you.
Next, we have case BOA 1297624 with the address of 11 Ludlow Street. Is the applicant and or their representative present?
Hi, Rose, is that you?
Oh, yes, that's me. I'm a neighbor. I'm in a butter. I'm not representing the property.
Okay, sorry. Can the applicant, if you're on, can you raise your hand? Okay, 1 second. Hadi Mazur,
Yes, this is Hadi Shavarini.
are you the applicant?
I am the owner of the house in 11 Ludlow, and I'm the applicant, yes.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm joined here with my engineering team, and I will ask him, Mr. Masood is here with me, and he will be explaining the drawing and our plans. Go ahead, Masood.
You're unmuted.
We cannot hear you, Masood.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. Okay, good. Sorry about that. So the house is a single-family house with a basement and 2 stories, the existing house. So we are adding a 3rd story and the deck above and the roof. And we're also extending the deck in the back of the building, almost 4 feet in the rear left side of the building. And existing deck is 2 stories. It's gonna be 3 stories deck, extended in the left side and the upper side. If you check the first page, I'm just as you're scrolling down, if you go back to the first page, we have the surveyor plan, which exactly shows what is the height. Yes, on the right side, you see what is on the gray is showing the existing building, and anything above the gray line is the proposed addition with the deck, and the left side, which is depicted in the picture, shows the extension of the deck in the left side. It's the proposed building, so it's going to stay a single-family house, and we are not converting to 2-family or 3-family or anything like that.
So can you confirm, so what's on each floor right now, and what's proposed for the 3rd floor?
This is the if you check, scroll up again. So this is existing plot plan, and this the first page is proposed plot plan. Yes, this is proposed plot plan. So the existing building is a basement, 2-story building, and the deck in the back. Our proposed building will be a 3-story building with the deck on the roof and a 3-story deck in the back with 4 feet extension of the deck in the rear left side of the building.
And the question was what's on each floor at the moment. Currently, if you scroll down, I think there's a floor plan.
Yes, there are floor plans in there. We have the living area and kitchen, and each floor, and the first floor, and the second floor is a bedroom and living area.
And the 3rd floor is going to be exactly like the 2nd floor, one bedroom and 1 bathroom. And the basement will remain the same.
And you currently have decks that you want to enclose and enlarge by 4 feet, is that?
Yes, there's currently a single deck in the back. What we want to do is that we want to put kind of enclosed decks so that it can be almost like a 3-season room rather than just a deck.
Okay, are there questions from the board?
Can you go through the violations? The variance you're requesting?
I'm sorry?
Can you go through the variances, the violations and the variances you're requesting?
Masood, can you explain the
Yeah,
variance?
it's the zoning letter, the denial letter that we received from the zoning board of appeals. It's calling for Article 62 roof structure restrictions, floor, Article 62, Section 25 was that.
Yeah, no,
And the other
I wanted to understand what's an existing condition and
what are you proposing?
And what are you proposing, right? Are the violations of the side yards existing conditions except for the addition? Just help us understand the FAR violation.
All. Height violation, side yard insufficient.
But the
We want you to
the
repeat it.
numbers.
We want to understand what's code and what are you, how are you violating? Is it existing conditions or what are you adding that's creating the violation?
Oh, on that side yard, is that side yard existing right now, or are you?
Yes, the side yard is.
Yes.
Okay, how about the rear yard? Are you changing the setback in the rear?
No. Remains exactly the same.
So because you're taking 4 feet extra for your deck. So where's
Yes.
that coming from? What violation does that cause or expand?
Do
you know the answer to that, David?
I mean,
I'm looking, it looks like, yeah. It just looks like that deck is getting set back.
I don't know what that means because they're saying they're adding 4 feet.
So they're replacing the deck, they're placing an addition.
Correct, yeah,
where the
yeah, there's
deck
an addition
is
on
currently.
there that is gonna change the rear setback and the side setback.
Okay, because there are letters in opposition due to things like sunlight and the setback issues. So I think we want to understand that better.
Yes, those two setbacks are changing.
Okay, I think we want to understand it from the proponent.
Sorry.
Can you speak to that?
Is that for Masood?
Pardon me?
It's for whoever can answer the question. We'll hear from the abutters, but there are abutters who commented about sunlight and, setback and so have concerns about that. So it would be helpful if you could address that.
So I don't think should be any blocking lights if we do this proposed building, like extending the deck 4 feet, like enlarging the deck 4 feet in the back. So
Which neighbors are they complaining, or such light from what side? Because the back side of the building is a park. There's no other homes or houses, any residents in the back part of the house. So the front side of the house is on Ludlow Street, and across from us there are homes. Are they?
What would be your neighbors to either side? I don't know.
No, the side neighbor to us is already got the 3rd floor. So we're not doing anything that it's not, in fact, there are many homes on Ludlow Street that are on the same height as what we are proposing.
I'm looking at Google Maps. It looks like there's maybe 1 or 2 properties that are there's one immediately opposite you. Other than that, right near you are 2 stories, I think.
No, the one to the, if you're coming out of my house, the one to the right is the 3rd floor.
The first house is 3rd floor as well.
Yeah, and then the first house is also 3rd floor as well.
Okay, are there other questions from the board? Okay, let's have public testimony.
Madam Chair, members of the board, Sean Breen with the Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services. An abutters meeting was held for 11 Ludlow Street on May 26, 2022. Since that meeting, this office has received 4 letters in opposition, which we've passed along to the board, and none in support. With that, we defer our judgment to the board.
Rose Ellen, are you looking to give testimony here?
Good afternoon.
Hi, oh, sorry.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, members of the board. My name is Elaine Donovan with Councilor Coletta's office. Our office has received several inquiries and letters from neighbors, including direct abutters with great concern over the height, density, and lack of concern for neighbors' privacy and quality of life in this small neighborhood. Councilor Coletta would like to go on record in strong opposition to this project. Thank you.
Thank you. Rose?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, hi, yes, my name's Rose Ellen Locke. I live directly across from 11 Ludlow. I'm at 3 Ludlow Street. I'm a direct abutter. And I was at the community meeting that took place 1 year ago and with 4 other abutters, and all of us opposed this proposal. And since then, the owners have not reached out and engaged in any community engagement with us at all to speak with us about our concerns. I am directly impacted by the proposed 9-foot third-story addition and roof deck that they plan on putting at the front of their property, as it's going to tower over my property, which is a 2-story directly across the street. I'd also like to point out that Ludlow Street is a very narrow street. The street is actually only about 6 feet wide, 6 feet. It's just large enough for one vehicle to drive down. So this third-story addition is going to tower over my property. It's going to block my view, it's going to block my light, and it's going to block the air. I'd also like to point out that the owners of this property have never ever lived in the property and have given absolutely no justification for a variance. And it's a grossly inappropriate addition. And I also think with the plans for the back, the 3 additions at the back, I think they've labeled them as enclosed decks, but they're actually 3 additional rooms that they're building on. And the plans do not include any square footage. We were not able to calculate the fire violations. I think they've labeled them as decks so they could avoid putting that square footage in as living area.
Thank you. Frank, are you looking to give testimony here?
Yes, hi. Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you for the zoning board for having this meeting, the mayor's office as well, and the BPDA. I would like to speak as a direct wall-sharing neighbor to 11 Ludlow Street. I live at 12 Ludlow, and a few concerns I have, one being the wall-sharing component of this project with the 3rd floor and the 3 rooms off the back, and then the roof deck on top. You know, the load of this size of a project, to me, during the construction process and the aftermath of it, the completion, if hopefully it doesn't get approved, I don't want it. I fear what a house from the late 1800s and a foundation of that stature from that time period is able to hold. I also believe the privacy part was brought up in the sunlight shade point. Now, when I sit on the back porch with myself and the family, in my backyard, you know, we enjoy the sunlight through the park, and then as it sits, you know, right perfectly in my backyard where we can enjoy a late dinner or, you know, just hanging out. And if there's 4 to 6 feet of extra space, I'm going to lose that. And everyone, you know, it's precious time and it's precious light and flow of air that I feel is going to make it harder. Okay. Me and my boy. So.
Are there any other raised hands?
No, not at the moment.
Is Brenna speaking on this? I see a raised hand.
Yeah, she just raised her hand. Are you looking to give testimony here, Brenna?
Hi, yes, I would just like to piggyback on what Frank and Rose Ellen were saying. The magnitude of the size of this home that they are looking to build with the 3 enclosed, quote, decks off the back, which really seem like just a guise for extra living space, as well as a 3rd floor and a roof deck and extensions off the back, 4 feet extension. This is a large home. So to what Frank was saying, you know, the weight that this is going to bear on the walls of our current home, which was built in 1890, as well as all the obstruction of light and airflow that this is going to cause, I'm overall not in agreement with the building of these new structures. I'd rather see the house exist as it is.
Thank you.
Any other raised hands, Jessica?
Claudia, this is the applicant, right, that's on?
Yes, that's me.
Okay, so outside of that.
Okay. Well,
Do I
one
get
last
that?
chance for the applicant, if you want to respond to that, you know, to clarify, because it does sound like it's unclear whether these are decks or additional living space or what you're planning, and so if you could elaborate as to that in community process.
No, there are no additional rooms that is being built. As I said, the enclosed back area is designed so that it will be used as a 3-season rooms, if you will, or additional space to the living room, because it's a very tiny house. And currently we have a deck that opens up to the deck. We just want to enclose that deck. So we're not building another room there, number one. Number two is that the adjacent building right next to us is already 3rd floor. So the foundation, again, we have a structural engineering drawings and all the necessary technical documents that we've gone through extensive amount of engineering calculations and whatnot. And you know, it's being built based on what the structural engineers have told us that how it needs to be constructed. And again, all the plans are already submitted to you. So I'm not really, I don't think that should be an issue. And lastly, as I said, there are already homes that are 3-story tall in that same exact street, and I live there. You know, I don't see how that's going to you know, stop the air from flowing into Ludlow Street or stop the sun to shine on Ludlow Street as it has always done. So.
Thank you, sir. Are there any other questions from the board? Hearing none, may I have a motion?
I think the proponent needs to spend some more time working with their neighbors and abutters. So I make a motion to deny without prejudice.
Second.
Mr. Stenbridge?
Yes.
Mr. Shepherd?
Yes.
Mr. Valencia?
Sorry, I was on mute. Yes.
Okay. Yes, okay. Ms. Panado?
Yes.
Mr. Collins?
Yes.
Mr. Aiken?
Yes.
Chair also votes yes, motion carries.
Moving on to the next case, we have case BOA 145-2465, with the address being 125 Addison Street. Is the applicant and/or their representative present?
Yes, good afternoon, Madam Chair, members of the board. My name is Richard Linz. I'm an attorney for the applicant with the business address of 245 Sumner Street, East Boston. Good afternoon. Madam Chair, we are back before the board actually on this project to request now one variance only, and that is for residential use, which is not permitted in an economic development area known as an EDA subdistrict. Just briefly, granting this one variance will actually accomplish 3 things for this project. First, it would allow for a new dimensionally compliant structure creating 9 homeownership opportunities, including 4 units with 3 bedrooms and a ground level accessible unit. If we can jump down to slide 4, that would probably give us a better perspective of the area. Maybe one more, there we go, perfect. Second, it eliminates an original proposal, Madam Chair, that for this site that would construct short-term rental executive suites, which is actually an allowed use in this district, and would dismiss current pending litigation in the Superior Court from a prior case involving the site. And last, and probably most importantly, this project, if approved, would voluntarily commit 2 of these 9 units as affordable homeownership opportunities under the IDP. I think it's important to stress for the board as they consider this proposal, there is no IDP requirement for this project at 9 units because it does fall below the 10-unit threshold. But more importantly, the developer has agreed to commit to 2 of those units for the IDP, which represents 22% of this project. By way of brief background, this is a 5,000 square foot lot located, as I mentioned, in the McClellan Highway Economic Development Area. Members of the board may be aware that the EDA district is one of the most flexible zoning districts in East Boston for when it comes to height, density, and setback. Despite predominant residential use in this neighborhood, including a very large-scale multifamily residential building located directly across the street, ironically, residential use is actually forbidden in the EDA, which is just sort of an anomaly under the Boston zoning code, especially Article 53. As residential uses were not permitted at this site, the proponent for this project initially filed for an as-of-right project in 2019, and at that time, executive suites were permitted as a matter of right. There was no zoning relief necessary for that. And that building that was proposed and the permit was filed was substantially the same size in bulk as well as setback as the current building that's being proposed today. But during the pendency of that appeal, Madam Chair, the Boston Zoning Commission had made an amendment to the Boston Zoning Code with respect to executive suites in the city of Boston. Following a policy and certainly a concern of the city that executive suites created short-term transient housing and certainly took away from residential opportunities, executive suites were made a conditional use. And therefore, while our permit was pending, we were forced to then appear before the zoning board, at which time both neighbors opposed our project for executive suites as well as the BPDA. The prior board, after hearing the case, denied our request for executive suites, even though it was technically an allowed use in the district, in favor of a more appropriate use for the site, which they consider to be residential. That matter was then appealed and is presently pending before the Superior Court with ongoing litigation regarding that zoning. So with respect to the current proposal, if we could jump down to slide 9, what we're proposing is essentially a building that is dimensionally compliant with the EDA sub-district requirements. The only difference is now the use. So rather than having an executive suite short-term rental building, we're proposing a building that offers home ownership. And as I said, ironically, while uses such as hotel or a motel or dormitory are actually permitted in the EDA, residential is not. And as you look up and down Addison Street, all you really see is residential uses, although there are some commercial uses as well. As this board is aware, both Mayor Wu and the Boston City Council have taken steps to increase the IDP requirement for projects adding housing, including increasing the minimum requirements of 13% up to 20% and lowering the threshold from 10 to 7 units where IDP is triggered. Once again, this project is already below the IDP requirements, but recognizing the importance of creating affordable housing opportunities, my client is voluntarily contributing 2 units, and that again is 22% of this project would be set aside for IDP. And again, as I said, that change has not even been put into place yet. We recognize the importance of contributing, especially with respect to this project, again, only requiring 1 variance. So if we can jump down to slide, and again, I appreciate the board giving me an opportunity to express the background behind this. But if we can jump down to slide 12, if we can go down further, one more slide. Let's go one more further to the garage. So as we can see here, the site is a 5,000 square foot site. Our building sits on the site with a 20-foot setback in the rear, which is compliant. We do show a total of 7 parking spaces that are in a garage. Those 7 parking spaces would be compliant with the requirements of the code, even though we're only required to have 6 parking. We do show sort of a tandem arrangement with those compact spaces located behind the first unit. You can also see Unit 1, which is a 1-bedroom accessible unit located in the lower level. Next slide, please. As we get to the second level, we see units 2, 3, 4, and 5. Just real quickly, I'm going to show you there's a total of 3 1-bedrooms, 2 2-bedrooms, and 4 3-bedroom units. The importance being the 3-bedroom units certainly allow for a much larger living space, certainly to accommodate a family-sized unit. And those units are all over 1,100 square feet. If you go to the next slide, we can see our third level. So yeah, units 6, 7, 8, 9 are shown here on the level 3 plan. These are bi-level units. They also have additional space on the 4th level. And if we could jump to that.
Next slide, please. And our fourth level shows the upper portions of those units 6, 7, 8, and 9. One of the things I will point out is that that fourth level actually has a reduced bulk. So even though we are at 4 stories, which is compliant, again, with the EDE requirements for under Article 53, we do scale in that upper level to allow for not only some outdoor space for those units, but also to reduce the bulk of the building as well. Next slide, please. And just our roof plan, in response to some of the conversations that we did here through both the abutters meeting as well as our appearance before the Harbor View Neighborhood Association, we have agreed not to include roof decks. That was a specific request that was asked by one of the direct abutters, so there were no roof decks being proposed in connection with this project. Next slide, please. Just our section plan, and I think we can jump to our elevation plans next. Next slide, please. Next slide. So our elevation shows both the front and the rear. As you can see, there are some front balconies off of the lower units as well as an upper unit. And then the upper unit showing from the rear does have some outdoor space as well. And again, no roof deck shown above the 4th level. Next slide, please. Showing our left elevation, we don't show any windows on the left side. We specifically incorporated, when I say no windows, meaning on the bulk of the building itself. We do see some decks at the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th levels. Those are set back. As I mentioned, that bulk on that 4th level is actually pulled back pretty well. Next slide, please. And that is our right side elevation, again, pulling back on the midsection of the building to allow for some outdoor space as well as decks on the 4th level. By way of relief, as I said earlier in the introduction, Madam Chair, this requires one variance. The building itself is designed to be dimensionally compliant under Article 53 of the EDA. We also recognize certainly the significance and importance of Plan East Boston. It is my understanding the BPDA has recommended approval with design review for this project. Certainly, and I'm certain we'll hear some comments about Plan East Boston with respect to this. Bear in mind that Plan East Boston is intended also to be flexible, especially where a project is contemplating providing affordable housing. As I said, this project does not require any IDP units. We recognize the significance and importance of the need for IDP, and we certainly would ask the board consider that and recognize the variance that we're requesting. With respect to the height of the building, we're at 45 feet. 45 is the maximum allowed in the district. With respect to there is no minimum lot size, lot width, lot frontage requirements, and the modal setback to the front of the building is something that's typically addressed as part of BPDA design review. With respect to the rear yard, as I mentioned, we do allow for 20-foot setback from the rear property line. That is the minimum rear yard setback. That would be maintained as open space. We are also proposing to incorporate street trees on the front of the building. And in connection with this, we've also agreed to make a contribution to Tree Easty to allow for tree planting within the Harbor View neighborhood. I will pause there, Madam Chair, to address any comments or questions that the board may have.
Thank you. I do have a quick question. So you mentioned the Harbor View Neighborhood Association and you know, talking about roof decks, et cetera. So they did submit comment about you know, not having heard about this change until recently, and then not having voted on it because there was only one presentation. I don't know if you want to just speak to that.
Yeah, Madam Chair, I can address that. And you know, as a practitioner in Boston who appears many times not only before this board, but many of the civic organizations in the city, you know, I recognize the importance of community process. I also recognize the importance of ensuring that we're not dragging the process on, you know, unnecessarily. And in this case, we did have an abutters meeting and we did have an opportunity to present this to the Harbor View Neighborhood Association. I have no inclination to believe they would vote to support this based upon the comments they made. However, I also would point out that the Harbor View Neighborhood Association agenda has been a little bit busy lately, and my understanding is they did not have room at their June meeting for a number of my other presentations. They were taking the month of July off, and the earliest they could offer is August. My understanding is, based upon, you know, even the mayor's executive order, is that priority should be given to projects that do propose to create affordable housing. A lot of the process that we deal with civic organizations, although it is important, sometimes doesn't give us the opportunity to go for the actual vote. I fully anticipate that they would not vote to support this. I do understand that. I believe we do have a number of people who do support the project, however, and we understand, again, the importance of community process. So the Harbor View did get a chance to review this. They certainly didn't get a chance to vote on it, but that's part and parcel an issue with their own timing and agenda and their own procedures on how they address these things before approving this hearing. Thank you.
Are there other questions from the board?
Yes, Mr. Lenz, what is the AMI for the 2 affordable units that you are proposing?
It's a great question. I believe because these are home ownership, I believe the AMI is at 80%. My understanding, speaking with BPDA, is that is the target AMI for ownership of a project this size.
Thank you. What is the restriction for those units? How many years?
As long as the IDP requires, I believe it's a 30 and 20, so it's 50 years.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Any other questions from the board? Hearing none, may I have public testimony?
Yes, good afternoon, Madam Chair, members of the board. Natalia Benitez with the Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services. We hosted 2 abutters meetings for this project, one on November 1st, 2022 and March 20th of this year. At the first meeting, 9 units with 1 IDP unit and 10 parking spaces were proposed. At the second meeting, the applicant proposed 9 units with 2 IDP and 7 parking spaces. Massing was a bit reduced and the 4th floor on the side was pulled back. However, the abutters continue to be against the project as they have stated during both meetings that the building that is being proposed is too tall and does not fit in with their abutting properties. They have also stated that 9 units are too many units. One resident that joined the meeting complimented the design choice for the facade and asked the applicant to plant trees if possible. The applicant has presented the project to Harbor View Association once on May 1st. However, they have not returned for the second meeting for a vote. The association asking for a deferral so that the project can go back for a vote. And however, during the first meeting, residents were displeased with the height of the building. Our office has received 4 letters in opposition and a petition to oppose with 65 signatures. And at this time, our office would like to defer all judgment to the board. Thank you.
Minor, any other elected official's office?
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, members of the board. Elaine Donovan with Councilor Coletta's office. Our office has received 4 letters of opposition. There was also a great deal of neighbor pushback at the Harbor View Neighborhood Association meeting on this project. Based on this and it not being a good fit for the neighborhood, Councilor Coletta would like to go on record in opposition. Thank you.
And then, Madam Chair, I have 10 raised hands right now. How do you want me to?
Let's start with 5 and go from there.
Oh, okay, Minor, go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Ambassador. Madam Chair, members of the board, Minor Perez representing the Carpenters Union. I'd like, on behalf of all our East Boston residents, want to go on record in support of this project. Thank you.
Thank you. Alexa Federico?
Hi there, my name is Alexa, and I live in East Boston at 126 Lexington Street. I'm in full support of this project. We have a housing crisis going on in our city, especially in regards to affordability, and this development is offering 2 affordable units when the requirement is 0 units. I wish more developments would increase the number of affordables above the minimum requirements. Thank you.
Thank you. Chris?
Rule with 215 Princeton Street. I would like to go on full support for this project. I feel the building size fits the allowed in the zoning that it is, and the developer is voluntarily offering 2 affordable units, which we desperately need in Boston right now. But I also feel like the building fits well with the neighborhood with the large resident building directly across the street. Thank you.
Zoom user? Hi, can you hear us? You're unmuted. Zoom user?
Oh, hi. I'm David Massey, a direct abutter at 121 Addison Street, and I fully support this project with no objections.
Thank you. Richard? No. Okay, Bohan?
Hello?
Hi, yep. Can you tell
Hi.
us your name and address and briefly tell us if you're in support or opposition?
I am in opposition. I live at 135 Addison Street. My name is Richard Scalamosa.
Okay.
I sent in a letter of opposition. I'm hoping that the board had a chance to read it. In 1993, the Zoning Commission placed Addison Street into one of 3 economic development areas where residential is forbidden. I believe that this was an oversight by the Zoning Commission because there were 1 and 2 family homes that were existing at the time of this decision. We have been working closely with the East Boston plan, trying to be taken out of an EDA area. And we have been told that under their plan, that the odd side where the residential is, we would be placed back into residential. There's no place for this on Addison Street. Under the EDA guidelines, it's harmful to the existing residents that are there. Only 20 feet's allowed in the rear of the property. 35 is
I
allowed
just want to
under
make sure
residential.
other speakers get to go. Thank you.
Thank you. Paul?
Hi, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Hi, my name is Gordon Fisher. I live on 129 Lexington Street, and I approve this proposal. The proposal does give affordable units as well as parking, both very needed in East Boston.
Thank you. Do you want me to keep going, Madam Chair?
How many raised?
8 more hands raised.
8 more, okay, let's split the difference.
Okay. Anthony, and then Melissa. Sent a request to unmute you. Okay, Melissa, go ahead, you're unmuted.
Hi, sorry if my voice sounds a little off. I'm a bit sick, but my name is Melissa. I live in 1097 Saratoga Street, East Boston. I wanted to say that I fully support this project, and I'm honestly very grateful that it's offering affordable housing, since I believe it's going to add a great value to the neighborhood. Thank you.
Next, Anthony?
Hi, sorry I was muted. Just wanted to say I'm calling on behalf of my families. We own the property at 791 Saratoga Street around the corner, 300 feet away from the site. And I want to go on record of support of this project, offering 2 affordable units when 0 are required, that the developer should be applauded for his project. And I just want to go full support of this project.
Okay, Paul?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Hi, I'm Paul Pasquintilli, resident at 614 Bennington Street, in full support of this project. This is as close to an as-of-right project as you see, and again, as mentioned prior to me, teeing up two affordables when it wasn't necessary, I don't know if I ever even seen or read about that before, so in full support.
Thank you.
Want me to keep going, Madam Chair?
Just take 2 more and let's, I think we get the idea.
Okay, Sandra, your hand is raised. Go ahead.
Hi, this is Sandra Escobar. My family owns 9 Central Square, and I am in full support of this project. I think providing affordable housing is great for our community. Thank you.
Thank you. And Ricky?
Hello, Richard Crespo, 9597 Addison Street. I'm a direct abutter. I want to go on record in support of this project. I think it fits in well with this neighborhood, as well as I want to applaud the developer for going above and beyond here with affordable units.
Thank you.
Okay. Are there any other questions from the board?
Madam Chair, if I could just add one item when you're ready.
Yeah, quickly, yes.
Yep, I understand, I don't know if Mr. Hampton's on, but I do understand the BPDA, with respect to the planning spots and the iPod issue, I think it's important in the record that the BPDA recommendation also be included, which I believe was approval with design review.
Mr. Hampton is no longer on, but I can certainly read their recommendation, which is approval with proviso that plans be submitted to the agency for design review.
Thank you.
Okay, are there any other questions from the board? With that, may I have a motion?
A motion to approve with BPDA design review.
May I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Stenbridge?
Yes.
Mr. Shepherd?
Yes.
Mr. Valencia?
Yes.
Ms. Panado?
Yes.
Mr. Collins?
Yes.
Mr. Aiken?
Yes.
Chair votes yes, the motion carries.
Thank you very much. Have a great day.
Great. I think we're done. Are we done? Is there any more?
There's no more cases.
That's it.
Okay, thank you.
Have a good day.